Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Untitled Tickets Project, where, you know, the NFL playoffs are finally around the corner. Not only that, too, but we're in the thick of it. Everybody knows when it comes to the college football playoffs. But anywho, I am Bears fan. We'll see how long I am Bears fan, truly, because I might be debating a name change. Question mark? Who knows?
Well, that's being considered. Hello, I am Nickman. I have NFL playoffs are around the corner. However, that has not been my big focus this week because I've had to make two videos on the Raiders. One of them to talk about the expected firing, and then the other because my video aged like milk in a day, so I had to make another video. I hope people have enjoyed it because it was really funny having to do that, and I am glad to see that a lot of people have enjoyed my Mark Davis therapy talk.
Oh boy,
therapy talk right there. Some good therapy, man.
yeah.
Some really good therapy. Anyways, I am the MaskedAura. I am almost free from fast food hell! Soon! I mean, it might be like 6 months, but soon! I will never have to work fast food ever again! I hate it so much!
Oh yeah.
My name is Carsausage, and I have a problem where I am obsessed with monkey-themed death metal. I am sorry, everyone, but if you hear me going in the ooh, ah, ah, you know why.
Don't forget the Tim Tim Walla Walla Bing Bang.
No, that's witch doctor metal.
True.
All fair and all that aspects. For real, for real.
But yes, playoffs are coming real soon.
Playoffs
real
are coming,
soon.
and so am I.
Playoffs coming in a little bit. But simply put, it is
I got away with one.
yes.
Spritz!
But yeah,
Fucking spritz!
Nuts.
Anywho, let's get into it real quick. Let's start talking about the actually let's give a little bit of a brief look at the college football realm, since
Yeah.
the NFL is
I
what
was gonna
matters at the
say,
end of the day.
Taegan, hold on. I was gonna say Taegan before we do that. To quote Yoda, there is another one.
What do you mean?
There is another one.
There's another one.
Hey
Another
Noah, how are
what?
you doing, buddy?
Yeah, there's
I'm doing
another.
all
There's
right.
someone among us.
Oh,
Among Us. Sus.
Oh,
I
chat,
just
chat. I know
stood
what
around there and existed.
we forgot.
Okay.
Oh,
We forgot.
It's okay, but anyways, Taegan, you said that we were gonna go into the. You said you wanted to talk about the college football playoff first.
so we can get it done and out of the way. We don't really need to spend on it too long. Simply put, uh, as much as it sucks to see my friend Noah upset. Thank God I don't gotta see Penn State anymore in the playoffs. Now it's all about rooting for whoever the fuck can beat the shit out of Notre Dame. I do not care. As an Iowa fan, I hate Notre Dame because they exist. Anywho,
Then it would
On
be
the
very
op-
funny. It would be very funny if you have to root for Ohio State in that case.
I don't care if I gotta root for Ohio State. I don't care.
I'm more on the side of I just hope it's a good game.
I hope they both have fun.
Exactly. Exactly. Why can't we just cheer for kids to have fun, you know? Why can't we just do that? I hope that everybody has
Whoa.
fun.
well, because quite frankly, you know, some people are monsters. They're evil, and they will not see the light of heaven.
That is fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, Notre Dame kind of winning in a great showing of why I will hopefully why I love the college football playoff. Because if we're all honest, if it was to 4 teams, I don't think Notre Dame makes it in.
Yeah, and we wouldn't be getting game. I don't think we get the games that some of the games that we've gotten.
And the really big the thing I think we're all understating here is the real impact of what the CFP allows teams to do. It allows teams to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think should be more stated, because before then it was just 2, and then they doubled it. This like the margin of error is thin. Now with it being extended, you can lose 1 or 2 games and you're fine.
Yeah, because it's like, back then it's like the thing with how like the BCS and all of that was you could be having the greatest season in your program history. You could be having as great of a season as a team could ever ask for. But the moment you make one mistake, your season, basically, your hopes of a championship go down the drain. And obviously there was some magic to that, because it would always be crazy watching the BCS busters do their job and stuff. But,
Iowa State.
Iowa State comes to mind. But when it came to, like, when you compare it to now, it's like, obviously you don't have that overwhelming pressure on you to, like, be basically, like, play perfect and all that, and don't make huge screw-ups. Now, obviously, you still want to play good football. You would love to play great football going into playoffs, all that good stuff. But the thing to consider is now, like, teams like Notre Dame, teams like Texas, teams like even Ohio State, like, they probably would not have been in this position with the old formats. And the fact of the matter is, the fact that one of these teams is going to win the national title really shows that the playoffs in their first season, like the new playoff format, has been a big success for college football.
Mm-hmm. This is what we all been waiting to see, because a lot of the times, like, I think, like, in the early days of when I was watching college football, when the time it rolled around to playoffs, one of the biggest complaints was there are a lot of blowouts even in, like, the 4-team playoff format, right?
Mm-hmm.
It happens a lot. Like, I think it's gotten better. Like, we had a really good semifinals in 2023. That was TCU, Michigan, and Georgia, Ohio State.
I think that was the 2022 season, but yes.
It happened the year 2023. And then last year we had Alabama, Michigan, Washington, and Texas, which were all great games.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, before then, it was just a lot of blowouts. And
Just
now...
like, just like me after Taco Bell.
Spritz! Fucking Spritz!
Yeah, because I will say though, like, I would remember when, like, like something like in terms of like blowout central when it came to like the college football playoff, like something like the year where like Clemson just kicked Alabama's ass, like that entire playoff was just blowouts, and nobody wanted to see that. Like, nobody wanted to see blowouts, even though it was impressive watching the Trevor Lawrence-led Clemson just destroy Alabama like that. That was actually pretty satisfying. But at the end of the day, as we've already noted, there were a ton of blowouts in the old college football playoff format, and yeah, it's just, obviously there's still going to be blowouts in the college football playoffs, but there's also been more good games, and that's something that, the current format has provided, and that's something I'm sure every college football fan should be happy to see.
Also, to all the people writing off all the 12-team format after 1 year, please shut up.
You're
like,
cringe.
genuinely. Like, 100%, like, this year was a rather weak bunch, but, like, even then, for the most part, the games were competitive for at least the first half. It really only turned into blowouts going into the second half. And I think people really need to understand that this format isn't just going to work immediately. It's going to take some time.
It's gonna take some tweaking, definitely. It's gonna take some adjusting.
Take some tweaking, take some twerking, and there you go. The whole thing works.
Like, you have to remember, because it's like, and I think this is just the way I think the reaction goes with playoffs in general. Because, the BCS national title game, that was originally made to be a solution to the fact that, hey, we hadn't had, a national title game for, like, to decide, like, who wins the national championship. Let's change that. And then the BCS started having its problems and became very much hated among many college football fans. So now you have the playoffs, and that causes a temporary fix to a lot of those problems. But over time, new problems arrive, and people get sick of the 4-team playoff, and now you reach the 12-team playoff, and it's just it's the cycle that repeats itself basicf.
I, for one, am excited for the 32-team playoff.
It breaks itself, then it fixes itself.
I don't think we need 32. I was somebody who was like hardcore 32-team playoff all the way, but I think 16 is it's the perfect number. I think 16 is the perfect number.
I'm just thinking more along the lines of, like, if we're trying to achieve the same ratio that we get in the NFL with the CFP.
No, I hear you. I absolutely hear you on this one. It's the thing that is kind of real, like the one thing that's like really holding me back is because, like, if you do 32, you're gonna get a lot of teams that are the blowouts are going to occur more. I think there's at some point to where if you're not like a top 20 school in the nation, you shouldn't have a claim to the national championship game.
Sure,
Yeah,
maybe I'm just.
I think something to look at is like maybe, like, when I think of college football and I think of playoffs that like aren't like the main one, I always think of like the FCS and all that, and the FCS playoff format goes the way it usually does. I mean, granted, it's a good playoff format. The only thing is with the FCS is it's basically a guarantee that whoever wins the national title is either North Dakota State or South Dakota State, which, congratulations to North Dakota State on getting their billionth championship.
Simply put, as someone who has been forced to watch them due to them being in Western Illinois Conference forever, those motherfuckers will never leave. They will milk that dry. They will milk being the best of the FCS until they can't anymore. And I think that's dumb. I hate that.
Simply congratulations on having.
They should be in they should be at the big boys, but I don't think they ever will go to the big boys.
They're 100% a team that would win Mountain West first year, and I'm not joking.
Yeah, congratulations, North Dakota. Your most famous person is now Carson Wentz. Wow.
I will say this though.
This is what 10 titles since 2011 does to a football program.
I will say this. Their quarterback ended up committing to Iowa in the transfer portal.
Maybe we won't get another Untitled Iowa project next year, even though
Doubt it.
You're drowsy ass.
The Big Ten is so like. I'm looking at like teams that are not like in like the right now top 4, which was Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State. Like Michigan's gonna be on the rise again. Right now they'll have a better year. A better year, but not, they'll be 1 or 2 years away. Same thing with Washington and USC. So it's can you crack the top? Which I mean, I think it'd be really good if they could.
Yeah. By the way, Taegan, just a note, the Iowa quarterback, or the quarterback that transferred to Iowa, he was South Dakota State's quarterback, not.
My bad.
Still a good pickup though.
Oh, it is.
Probably better than Cade McNamara.
True.
You mean Cade McElmore and Ryan Lewis?
Cade McNamara. Ugh.
But I feel like we've officially done college football drive because it wants to talk about stinky college football. Am I right? Let's talk about
we have
some
a
real.
We're about hockey. As it stands, the Maple Leafs. As it stands, the Maple Leafs are currently set to face off against Ottawa in April. How does that make you feel?
We're still gonna. I will say this until I'm red in the face. I don't give a shit. Wake me up when playoffs start.
You don't want to discuss the possible matchup against the Senators in the playoffs?
Wake me up when playoffs start. I could not care.
Okay, and that's hockey discussion. Anyways, yeah, we have.
If you guys talk about hockey for one more moment, I was going to fall asleep.
We actually have a lot to talk about with the NFL, and I'm not just talking about playoffs because there was a lot that happened this week with teams outside of the playoffs. But I will let you all decide. What do you want to talk about first with the NFL this week? Should we dive right into Wildcard?
No. I have one thing I want to talk about real quick. Suck my big fat fucking dick, Green Bay. We beat you, you fucking cheesehead eating fucks. I do not care. I am so happy that we beat those fucking dumbass motherfuckers. You have no idea how much I went from this game is bullshit to holy shit, this is peak in like a matter of moments. This was one of the greatest games I've ever witnessed in my life. Oh, but Green Bay was resting their start. Jordan Love was playing for fucking 75% of the game. Suck my dick. You guys lost to the fucking Bears when you should have beaten them by like 20. Also, Thomas Brown is officially, Matty Eberflus is officially the only Bears head coach to ever not beat Green Bay during his tenure. By the way,
that's why they call him Matt Eberflus, folks. I'm a big better loser.
I will give my quick thoughts. On that game. To quote the words of DJ Moore, we beat the Packers. Fuck them.
Fuck it. I'll let the Packers fans have this one. But if you guys are gonna be obnoxious over paper moves, can you guys wait till you go over 500 before?
I've already kind of admitted like next year's gonna be a lot harder. So my goal for next year is to see Caleb develop further. That is legitimately my only goal for next year.
And that is a very good goal to have.
And not move. Oh yeah, and maybe move out.
We'll see.
Oh God. So anyways, with the Bears talk out of the way because we had to get that off our chest. Is it time to talk about the wildcard games?
No, I think it's time for a little segment we like to call on here, Seahawk Tua, where Luke bitches about the Seattle Seahawks. Luke?
Okay, but why the Hawk Tua? Why would you do this? Why is this still alive?
No, this is okay, well, I'm doing this. We got to make sure Ren has good background music because he is fishing in Genshin Impact. So this goes out to all the Seahawks fans out there.
What do you mean? What do you mean Ren's fishing in Genshin Impact?
Look in chat, buddy.
Do you not do what we should be doing as good podcasters, paying attention to the chat?
My brother in Christ, there are 5 other people. There are 4 other people here. 5 at most at points.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
My God.
Listen, I do the listen. I'm always doing this because you never know what can happen when it comes to YouTube streams. Okay, you never know who can show up. You never know who's gonna be there. You gotta keep your eyes on the chat.
Some nice lady might provide a link to some boobies.
Yeah, we never banned porn bots here. We always appreciated their contributions to this channel. Sure, it might have been for 1 millisecond, but you know what? They had enough. They gave enough of their attention to say, "Want free sex? Click the link in my bio." And you know what? It's those messages that keeps me motivated.
God, I need to turn down my fucking headset. This is horrible.
I'm also, if it makes you feel better, I'm also holding like the mic right, like very closely because I need to, because talking about the Seahawks, I gotta be like peak obnoxious about it. Because, you know, Spencer said Seahawk Tua, which, why?
Because of Taegan's reasonable crash outs.
Look, simply put, my crash outs are the most reasonable. Anyone who says that my crash outs aren't, they're simply put, just a hater. They don't understand what peak content looks like.
Hey Taegan, you looking at chat right now?
Yeah. You know what? There's some things that are meant to be kept in the gaggle, Ren, and that's one of those things that should be kept in the gaggle. This is not something that needs to be public knowledge. Simply put, how the fuck? Better have moderation permissions on this fucking chat. Worst comes to worst, I'll just go onto the official Sickos page on my phone, and I will delete that comment. Simply put, for all those wondering, you guys that are in here, do not say shit. I will leave this chat if you do. Okay. Simply put, well, there's good reason why I got on here. Anywho, get that gone.
Oh, boo!
1984.
1984, chat. This is 1984.
This is not
1984. I was about to make Red mod too, and then that's all you told me.
What the? Simply put, there is some stuff that needs to be kept in the gaggle, and I don't need my stepfather to look the whole Twitter thing. That's whatever. If he might not constantly look at it, that's something. But he might actually look at the channel because it's something that I've told him about. I do not need him to ask me, "Hey, who's this thing that these people are talking about?" And I don't need to explain that to him. So, I don't.
1984.
Now I'm not upset with that because my stepfather also thinks Hawk Tua is stupid. And simply put, he understands the jokes that I make when I say that. Rather, he doesn't comment on Twitter. Oh yeah, by the way, we will be doing Danganronpa tomorrow for those who are purely interested in Danganronpa content on this channel.
Or as I like to call them, freaks.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, to all the people who watched the original DR Prologue stream, my apologies if that didn't work out so well with the voice, with the audio having all those problems and the stream lagging. I really did want to make something good for you, but my software didn't want to. My software had other ideas.
Hey, it's perfectly fine. That's why we send you to the editing basement to do the highlights. Which, by the way, Chapter 3 highlights coming soon whenever Noah gets finished with Untitled Deshaun Watson project, which is also another video that will be coming out soon. Anywho, it's going to be a pretty busy month in terms of sickos. So, anywho, time to bring this up. Simply put, I think the Seattle Seahawks are in a good position.
Whoa, you're not the Bear. Whoa, you got to talk about the freaking Bears.
Oh, Bears.
I get to talk about the Seahawks, don't you know? Got to talk about the Bears. I get to talk about the Seahawks. That's how it works around here. Anyways, the Seahawks, they fired Ryan Groob. This concludes my Seahawks talk.
That's it.
I have nothing to say. Mike
Not even
McDonald,
a Jake Bobo mention?
B+ season. Lockett, I will miss. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Also, I did want to say real quick to all the hardcore sickos out there, prepare for an interesting February. Simply put.
Especially
More
at the end
like
of the February.
February.
I will have my first crash out.
Hell yeah.
What the? You will not. Your first crash out on what?
Oh, the Pokemon Presents.
I mean,
They do
it
it
can't
every
be that
Pokemon
bad.
Day, and it is in February. I have a perfect crash out with that because I've been hearing nothing about freaking Pokemon fans complaining that they haven't gotten a new trailer in so freaking long, don't you know? Well, me being an Elder Scrolls fan, I've been waiting 8 fucking years for one, dick for brains. Where's my Elder Scrolls trailer? Where is it? Where is it, Todd? I'm gonna find you, Todd.
He left it in the other. He left it in the other. He left it in the port the sky. He left it in the PS6 port the sky.
Skyrim.
PS6 board. He left it. No. The next update's to Skyrim Ultimate Edition.
Look, there's
With
gonna be
16 times the detail.
Look, I'm just saying those water graphics are gonna be fire, and
Actually,
you're
Taegan,
gonna hate.
do you not know? Wait, I hate to steal your fire, but do you not know what mods are?
I hate to say it, but if you have,
do you know what EMB settings are?
simply put, if you have to mod your game in order for it to be good, then I think that's just a bad game.
Yeah, Skyrim, more like Crap Rim.
Look, I'm
3 out
just
of
saying
10.
I'm just saying the Skull Viking Gamer gave it like a 3 out of 10. So like,
And he called it Shit Rim.
Damn. But anyways, that'll be my first crash, my first genuine crash out. So
I did want to say real quick, Luke. Would you like to tell everyone about how Gen 3 is the best generation for Pokemon, and how Gen 3 fans never bitch about anything? Because as a fellow Gen
3 fans, dude, those are the most chill mofos. All they want in life is, a remake for Coliseum, and then that's game. Ohio State wins.
Yeah, Texas, go bye-bye.
Texas, bye-bye.
Longhorn Nation, we're crap.
Hey, horns down, bitch.
Mm-hmm. Like, I get, Ren, that's Gen 4. You shut up, you Gen 4.
Goodness.
Soul Silver is goated.
Hold on, Noah, what were you saying?
Why would you even do a toss play on 2nd and goal from the 1? What is the plan there?
Listen, I'm stealing this from someone else. I love toss plays, Charlie. I love toss plays!
Pim, I would not be screaming that on the sideline without covering your mouth.
Also, I do want to say this real quick. As a Gen 3 fan, simply put, if you have an issue with your game, just play Gen 3. If you have issue with your current generation, just play a better Pokemon game.
I mean,
just play Omega Ruby, LOL.
Listen, I can say absolutely nothing because I'm a dirty-ass Gen 1er.
Yeah, that's because you're 40 years old. You're 40 years old, and you still think Charizard is the coolest thing ever.
Charizard is overrated.
Also, I will say this: Gen 4 has the worst starters. So
no, you shut the front door! You're dissing on my boys? Oh, you shut the front door!
I think you can say the fuck word.
I hate to break it to you.
No,
Piplup
no,
overrated.
no.
Turtwig overrated. Chimchar overrated. They're all
Shut up.
overrated.
You do not know squat about Pokemon. No, none.
No, I'm half my IRL friend group is obsessed with that fucking thing.
Yes,
I know how
Untitled
it
Pokemon
goes.
Project.
Simply put, I have to deal with fucking these people talk about their fucking little guys all the damn time, talking about Pokemon Go, and I can't stand this shit. I know a lot about Pokemon, and I have almost little to no interest. I mean, I like Pokemon. I don't hate it or anything. I play the games occasionally, but I know everything that goes on.
And
So,
I gotta be honest, I don't really play Pokemon other than the.
Sorry for crashing the stream. I should have been in at the beginning though, but no, you're wrong about Gen 4. The
Thank
starters
you,
are
Jugger! I knew
No,
Jugger, thank you! Thank you, Jugger!
You're just You're just.
Oh my
I'm
god,
literally
Jugger,
Sammy
you're my
Zayn coming in
hero!
this set. You're Roman Reigns, not Roman Reigns. Olo
Yeah,
Sikoa, right?
Listen,
no.
Listen, all I know is the only Pokemon game I ever like religiously played was Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy Color.
Look, I'm just saying this. Gen
That
4
game was
is
the tits, man.
Gen 4 is all hype, no substance.
Wow,
and you're all
I
dick,
thought
no
Gen
balls.
3 fans were so cool, but the fact that now Gen 3 fans just talk about how great their generation is, I don't know anymore.
Look,
I
it's not
don't
that
know anymore.
think-
Look, I'm gonna have to take what I said back. Because if this is
Nah.
how, this is, I expect nothing, I expect this from like a Gen 1er. But like, the fact that, I mean, I personally believe all starters have their place. In, they have a place in the world. But the fact that you go like, nah, any X starter gen, fucking garbage, throw it in the trash. I'm gonna have to take back what I said about.
they have the least appealing design in all of it. Well, okay, not true. I will say this: Gen 2 might have the worst. I'm sorry,
Oh.
but Chikorita is like a bottom 2.
Okay, we can
Pokemon.
agree
There's
on
only,
that.
like,
We can
one
agree
really
on that.
good.
We can agree
Actually,
on
no.
that. We can agree.
Totodile
on that, actually.
goated. I would say is it Cyndaquil? Oh my goodness, I'm blanking. The
That
fireball.
sounds like a fucking medicine.
You mean
honestly.
you mean the
Sounds like a
Pokemon that
medicine.
did that one thing?
Yeah, the Digimon.
Sounds like a medicine.
Yeah,
Like, are you
This is my way
experiencing
to pedophilia.
are you experiencing unsightly rashes on your ass? Take Cyndaquil.
Although I will say though, proudly say that Hisuian Typhlosion, that's my boy. Hisuian
There we go,
Typhlosion is a
Typhlosion.
cool dude.
Goated Mon design, wasted on being Diddy disciple.
Diddy disciple.
Emulator.
My favorite Pokemon is probably the cum one.
The what?
It's literally cum backwards.
creamy.
Dude, Alolan Muck, that's my boy. Alolan Muck.
Yeah.
Creamy.
Nick, do you not know who Alcremie is? It's the cream Pokemon. Why don't you look it up, Nick? We're not going to continue the stream until you look up what Alcremie
I
is,
fucking
Nick.
looked it up, you piece of shit. I looked it up.
What are your thoughts?
Anyways,
Oh man.
we should be talking about the wild card.
You want to talk
but-
about the wild card? That's just fucking cum and strawberries.
Yeah,
Spritz.
that's what it is.
Fucking
Good God.
Spritz.
Look at the
Look,
influence.
we're
Look at the influence y'all are having on me. I hope y'all are happy. Look at the influence.
I hate to break it to you,
We're
buddy,
gonna
but you're the
find
one
out what
that
his
signed.
favorite Latina is in Pokemon soon.
Oh god! Oh god!
Secret.
Wow! No, it's not even a secret. You just gotta go to this man's Twitter page, and you'll know what his favorite Pokemon gym leader is. By the way.
Man, dude, I don't know you, Skyla. I mean, goddamn.
No, I think it's only because memes. Like, here's the thing: Ren is very much. I love the guy. He is such a character. I love him. But he has some.
I mean-
He's a personality. That
I mean,
personality is.
Taegan. Bro ate dinner.
Man,
Oh,
imagine
God.
eating dinner in
Oh,
2025, man.
I
Who can afford that
Dinner
shit?
matching. Dinner matching.
Dude, man, people have to like have to figure out bills to dinner max these days. Imagine that.
What the fuck?
Anyways, let's talk about the first game: Texans versus Chargers. Go!
It's
I
the
guess-
game.
I guess since the
Simply-
Texans will somehow BS their way into a win off of like Chargers' bad luck.
No, I hate to say it. Anyone that thinks that the Texans have a singular chance of winning,
No, it's not because I
they're-
think they're the better team here. No, I just think the Chargers are cursed.
Nah, the Chargers signed
Fair.
Harbaugh. They're past being cursed. At least not yet.
They
They'll get cursed
have to
later
win. They
on.
have to like beat the Chiefs in order to like not get killed by the Chiefs in order to break the curse, in my opinion.
But yeah, the thing is, it's just like the biggest thing that I will say about the Texans is they have no soul. Like they're like it's very easy to say like a team doesn't have any soul, but like that team is. I don't know how the fuck
mean-
they can go day to day life doing anything.
I mean, to
They
be
do.
fair, there are people on this podcast that are older than the Houston Texans.
That's
Yeah,
real.
me and wait. Oh no, that would be Juggerbear. When were you when were you born again?
2002.
Oh, okay. So we have 3 people currently on the podcast because I believe Noah, you're 24, right?
Yes.
I was gonna. Oh wait, no. Then that would be 4, because Texans started in '99.
No,
Okay.
Texans started in 2002.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they do.
Well then, in that case, when we have Civil War, we'll have the pre-Texans team and the post-Texans team.
Mm.
Well,
Don't worry, us the post-Texans team. We just have to take away their arthritis meds, and they'll crumble immediately.
listen, Amper, aka Noah, aka Bad Bart, who the hell are you? We got this.
Future is now, old man.
Yeah.
He's talking
Oh,
to you,
no.
Taegan.
Yeah. Anywho, I
Alright,
love.
hang on a second. Sorry, I am just now calming myself down from the whatever in the world Sark was doing on that second and goal from the 1.
I mean, are you
I
really
cannot
sur-
believe what I just saw. That might
mean-
be the worst play call I've ever seen.
I mean,
What is he doing?
are you really surprised? This is the guy who choked away an offensive performance to Nick frickin' Foles in the divisional round.
Yeah, his offense just got drunken again.
Bro.
He got infected with the Falcon disease.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
don't say that. We have a Falcons fan in here, and he's gonna start fucking trauma dumping in chat.
No. We should encourage that. Actually, we should
Yeah.
encourage this.
Trauma. Chat. This man's gonna be streaming tomorrow, and I don't want him to start getting any ill will against us. Simply put,
I'm not gonna be-
Taegan, buddy, it is fine. We
I'm
will
not gonna be there,
fine.
bitch.
Yeah,
you're
same
not
here.
streaming.
I
You're
will
not-
Yeah, that's
be.
what he said.
I will be watching. I don't know, porn maybe. I don't know.
What
yeah,
the
just
fuck?
straight up jorking
Fritz.
it.
Fritz.
See, this is what Spencer has done to me. He's infected me with
And
this.
by
Oh
it,
yeah.
well, let's
Saves my
say
day.
Yeah, at some point you had to get infected with the disease, Luke.
It,
Unfortunately,
it,
but
it, it had
happen.
to it had to happen.
Sorry to interrupt
Look, people-
our NFL chat, but meanwhile in the college verse, horns are down today, boys.
yeah.
Horns are
You
down
missed
bad.
that. You
Oh,
missed
but the-
that earlier.
But you know, the SEC, man, it's an elite conference. Yeah,
It's
right.
the SEC. It means more here.
Yeah,
And
it
that
does
means it's
mean
gonna
more
be a big
here.
Big
Oh
Ten
well.
versus Independent Bowl.
Chat.
Oh.
I like to call the SEC the shitty excrement conference because that's all their fans seem to post out.
Why are
You know,
Big 12 fans are so cool? Big 10 and SEC fans are cringe.
That SEC joke, that sounds like a Bear Down Gamer bit. The
Please
shitty
stop.
excrement conference.
It's okay.
Please stop.
It's Big Ten
I-
fans. They need to have their big moment here. They gotta talk their shit here. Let them have their moment.
I am an independent observer. I am a Big 12 fan, so I just understand we suck.
Oh, you're Big 12? What team?
UCF.
Yeah, that's cool.
My
Iowa
thoughts
State.
and prayers to you, Jugger. My
Listen, I'm
thoughts
just
and
here. I'm just here. At the end of the day, I'm just here to enjoy the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you were gonna say Baylor or Kansas State, we would have had to have talks.
No, UCF is the new kid into the Big 12, and I know that
Nick,
because we
What
had
you
like
at? What
4 and
grade?
10 this year or something.
I wanted to say real quick. I'm here for the chaos as a real fence-sitting ass kind of discussion.
Fuck you. I'm better.
See,
L
Big,
plus
see,
ratio.
see, Big Ten
I
fans, they don't like chaos. They don't like chaos. They like things boring and orderly.
You're an
No.
Iowa fan.
Yeah.
You suck. You are
You
an
like-
Iowa fan.
you
You
like
automatically suck.
Simply put,
Taegan,
Taegan,
you say UNLV. Who has a bowl win this season? Us. Who doesn't have a bowl win? You.
and guess
That's
what?
because we
Wait.
didn't. That's because we didn't want to make the SEC feel bad.
And guess
The
what?
fact of the matter is,
You
we
are
scored.
coping and thieving.
Bullshit!
You are coping and thieving. I can hear the music from here. You are coping and thieving, my guy.
And guess what?
The only one.
We
The
won
only
the
one.
Pop Tart. We won the fucking Pop
I
Tarts.
watched the Pop-Tart Bowl
Yeah, and
live.
we
Only-
lost the
only-
Tony the Tiger Bowl.
The only person coping here is you because I'm not getting angry right now. You're the one that
My
is.
brother in Christ, you suck Tony the Tiger's nuts, so fuck you.
Tony the Tiger's
I'm-
nuts.
Once might say they're great.
Simply put, Nick, you're really talking a lot about balls today. Maybe you should tell your quarterback to start throwing some more. Oh wait, I forgot. He decommitted because you didn't pay him.
But you had,
Yeah,
you had
yeah, we were
somebody
better off
else in
without
the
him.
rankings that did
Yeah.
just fine.
We were better
Yeah.
off without him. So
How,
personally, take those balls and shove it up your ass.
honestly,
We
with pleasure.
love banter. We love banter here. Simply put, what would we do here at Sickos without banter?
Oh Christ! You lost to Missouri.
Okay, they were ranked. They were ranked and Iowa wasn't? Question mark.
See, this is coping. You're coping. See, I expect nothing more from a Big
Coping,
Ten fan.
Coping and thieving.
I mean, I don't
See,
think this is coping. I just think you guys don't really seem to understand that Iowa, if they had a quarterback, they'd be the winners of the Big Ten every
Says
fucking year.
every Big Ten school ever.
Oh my God! You're
Every
going
Big Ten school goes,
recruiter.
you know, if we had a quarterback, we'd be so much better. Every Big Ten school says this fact. Every single one.
You think you're special? You think you're
Yeah.
really special, my guy?
Yeah, really. Like, come on. Like, really, what separates you from fucking Michigan State?
Chat, the rage bait was successful. They believed it.
See, this
Simply
is,
put,
I expect
they
this
fell
is the
into
big, this
the
is not even
trap.
rage bait. This
You're
is
just
what I
fucking
get from
going
Big
full
Ten
scooter
fans.
You're going scooter mode.
See, like Big 12 fans, you guys are cool. SEC fans, hey, you know what? We're not the best right now. We'll get there. We'll be better. Big Ten fans are just pounding their chest because Ohio, they love their conference boring and orderly. But yeah, if only we had a quarterback, we'd be so good.
4 yards in a cloud of dust. That's how it's done.
See, this. Like, they hate chaos.
Simply put, be better. Also, your team's in
You'll
the
be
Big
better.
Ten now.
You
Yeah,
be better.
but Taegan,
We are better,
Taegan, listen to
motherfucker!
me. Do I gloat about, oh, Washington, we're gonna be, if only we had a quarterback. No, I'm saying we just need a couple recruiting classes. We got it, we're not quite there yet. Our quarterback that might be starting next year looks pretty good. We'll see what happens. I'm happy that players didn't hit the transfer portal that other teams tried to take a win. We'll see what happens. I know my place, Taegan. My place comes in about 2 years when this is again, when we hit our ceiling again, when everything comes together, we'll try to contend for the Big Ten championship. But
And
will
quite
we?
honestly,
Probably not. It's because I know my place. It's beneath Oregon's foot.
And quite honestly, the Cyclones took a fat shit on you this year.
You had one of your best programs in season history. I would expect that to happen.
That's coping.
That's not coping when it's just facts and logic.
And technically, I came from the Pac-12, so
Also, too,
Yeah.
y'all.
And you see that, Taegan? That's called a quarterback.
No. I genuinely can't tell if you guys think I'm being serious or not, because I don't.
No, you're being serious, and you're brushing
No,
it off.
I'm not being serious.
You're literally
I'm
you're doing the meme where it's like a joke's on them. I was pretending to be retarded.
No, I'm not. I'm being 100% genuine. You guys have met me for so long right now. You know that I am a reaction farmer. I farm.
Yeah, you're a clip farmer. You're like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
and you're also retarded.
Look.
Oh my
We were
God.
supposed to be talking about the Texans, and we just get back into college football again.
Anyway,
do I need to save this segment? Actually,
I think you do.
oh God. I heard a no from Noah, so you know what? I'm gonna take things from here with this game. Listen, it is really funny. It's really funny when you consider that whenever there is an early slot on Saturday for the playoffs, every single time Houston Texans are playing in that time slot, and I just want to bring that up because that is a tradition that I hope never dies.
Agreed. If they change that tradition, I don't know what I do. With myself.
Yes. All right. You want me to talk about this one?
Yep.
All right. Well, honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I felt the season was lost as soon as Tank Dell went down for good. Honestly, that might have ended. I'm not sure if his career is gonna go on from there, but honestly, when Tank Dell got hurt against the Chiefs, that felt like the end. Because now all we really have is Nico Collins, Xavier Hutchinson, and John Mechie III. And I like Hutchinson and Mechie III, but they are not Dell and Diggs. Not yet, anyway. So, now that,
Which is a shame because I really like what Xavier Hutchinson did in Iowa State.
Anyway, I just feel like it's gonna be a matter of time before it all gets out of whack. I think Houston's defense might be able to hold on for a little bit, at least in the first half, but then it's just going to get ugly. I don't like Houston's offense. It just doesn't impress me at all.
I think it's the right way I would describe the Houston Texans right now, is that they're really unimpressive, and I never would have seen a hot coaching candidate stock never vanish faster than, Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're talking by that. You are talking about you are referring to Bobby Slowick.
Yes, I'm referring to Bobby Slowick.
Because yeah, I feel like the situation with Bobby Slowick, this season, I don't know why I said situation again, but his situation this season, where it just feels like, he went from we're at a point where like people last season were calling this man possibly the next Ben Johnson, and of course now this season literally everyone is watching his offense and just going like, what the hell happened to this man? Jesus Christ. But it's a path that reminds me a lot of Byron Leftwich with his time at the Buccaneers, where people were wondering, hey, he's done a great job here. When's he going to get a head coaching job? I mean, he nearly got the head coaching job at the Jaguars before Doug Peterson. But of course, the 2022 Buccaneers season happened, and that offense was a complete and utter disaster, and Byron was fired right after. And he doesn't even have a coaching job right now. So that's how quickly things can change in the league. And for the case of Bobby Slowick, it's really that stuff's really fallen on him this season. And I feel like the biggest thing that's really been revealing to me about his struggles this year has just been how bad the Texans' offense has been in like the second half all season. Like it's really been bad.
Mm-hmm. It's
most of it. I think much of it starts with I think much of it actually starts with the drop back. CJ Stroud is a mobile quarterback. That I am aware of. But there's a difference between extending plays and running for your life trying to find something. And that seems like 50%, half the game, Stroud is running for his life trying to find an open man, rather than extending the play to give them a shot for a big crunch, for a big chunk of yards. The offensive line was a major concern last year when the Texans shocked the NFL world, but it surprisingly held up a lot better than this year's one, which is kind of the nightmare realized. Stroud is a sitting duck out there, making him look bad, making Slowick look bad, and it all just kind of snowballs. Without Mixon, the Texans would be. Without Mixon, this team would be screwed.
Yeah. Pretty much, the Texans' offensive line, the only good thing they did is that they gave you your first true bit with the sickos. The
console one? Yes.
Yeah. That's how we knew you were a full-blown member.
Yeah.
Guys, we now know why Laramie Tunsil was wearing that gas mask. It's because of the mustard gas that was in the room. Oh!
Oh!
Lord. Yeah. Gotta be said, though, with the Texans. I think, it's a combination of, sophomore slump, bad play calling, and also the O-line really getting worse. And I feel like going into this season, with the focus that defensive coordinators have and all that, there was going to be a lot of attention placed on CJ Stroud and this Texans offense because of how great of a rookie season he had last year. There's going to be a big need from any defensive coordinator in the NFL is, hey, I want to be the one to figure this quarterback out, figure this guy who had a great rookie season and make him come back to earth. And many defensive coordinators this season have been able to do that to Stroud and the Texans offense. And I feel like in terms of the O-line discussion we've had, where I really noticed that like the Texans O-line is just a walking disaster, it had to have been like the freaking the Halloween game against the Jets, because that was a horrific O-line
pissed me off, man. Oh my god.
My thought was when I was in New York watching the Vikings-Texans game, and Tunsil just took 1 million false start penalties in a row.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody in that Vikings bar was laughing their asses off because they didn't know what the hell was going on.
I think the main thing is with the Texans, they just kind of... I feel like in every aspect they've kind of decreased. Like the defense, in my opinion, has been a bit worse than last year. Not incredibly, but for like defense being like their main thing, they have taken a huge step back, despite the fact that they added, Daniil Hunter. Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson on his second season, is it?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just. I think it's just one of those things where it's disappointing, but like
And
at some point we should have probably expected it.
My question
Like,
is, are we seeing a trend, this is just generally at the NFL level, where we're seeing a lot of static offensive coordinators where they don't adjust, whereas I feel defenses, just because of the given nature of the NFL, they're more forced to be they have to adapt every single week to the changing circumstances around them.
maybe.
That's a good point to bring up.
I think for me, like the more concerning part, you know, with the defense, like, yeah, Daniil Hunter underperforming is bad on an isolated incident. What really would concern me if I was like Nick Caserio or D'Amico Ryans is how much like Jonathan Grenard and Blake Cashman have taken a huge step up in Minnesota, because like that tells me like something's wrong with our defensive scheming. Like, what is going on?
well, not only that too, but it's just like it feels like D'Amico Ryans went from like Coach of the Year candidate to like a guy that's just kind of in the background now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that does happen because I'm not surprised that's happened because the Texans' first season was an incredible turnaround, and this season has felt a lot more stagnant. So it feels about right that that's how it's gone regarding D'Amico. But yeah, that does sound about right. Just regarding him.
I think we're starting to see some trends of like the longevity of coaching just at the NFL level. I think it all has to boil down to how adaptive are you during the off seasons? Do you change things? Because I think the big thing we're going to look at is, especially when Jaden Daniels enters year 2, is how adaptive is the coaching staff going to be at Washington? Because there's now a full year of film that defensive coordinators that are going to just comb through. And on top of that, there's going to be the NFL balance patch that's going to come out whenever it comes out, with rule changes to try and make offenses score more often than not. And it's been the biggest thing that offensive coordinators just haven't been able to solve is 2-eye safeties. They can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel because of the simple have a talented wide receiver run deep, that nature doesn't exist anymore. Because now you have to actually scheme a really good game versus people that have been figuring how to stop you for about 6 months.
Yeah, and
that's
you mentioned Jaden Daniels, and I compare it to what I said about CJ Stroud going into this season, is like, defensive coordinators, they're gonna look at everything he did in his rookie season, and one of them is gonna want to be the guy who figures it out, how to stop this quarterback, how to stop this dynamic quarterback, and make his time out there hell. And we saw that with CJ Stroud this season, and I'm sure many defensive coordinators are going to want to do the same thing to Jaden Daniels next year.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, you know what I think you need to do to stop Jaden Daniels? You have to just weaken the old line. Because the main thing about Jaden Daniels this year, yeah, he's been sacked a fair bit, but his O-line hasn't been exactly the worst in the league. You have to make the O-line suffer. And I feel like that's a lot of people need to realize with quarterbacks coming around now, that it's no longer just, it's no longer just like the quarterback skill. It's now coming down to offensive lines and how they perform. If you really want to know how to stop this quarterback, you take out his O-line.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
That is fair.
Yeah.
But we've talked about the Texans a lot. I feel like it's time to give the Chargers some conversation because, yeah, I feel like this season has really been the best case scenario for them where they have a strong turnaround and they make the playoffs in their first year under Harbaugh.
And
Well, not only that, too, I feel like the Texans and the Chargers are two completely, like, contrasting teams where, like, the Chargers don't really have all the talents in the world, but they're just extremely well coached. Meanwhile, the Texans have all the talent in the world, yet they still have a very young head coach. And I feel like there's a complete yin and yang between the two.
Yeah, I feel like the big thing with the Chargers, it's really like the growth that I've seen with not just Harbaugh coaching this team, but Jesse Minter coaching the defense. Like the fact that the Chargers defense last year, it was terrible. Their defense this season, it's number 1 in the NFL. Like that shows how great coaching can have such an effect on a team. And the fact of the matter is with the Chargers, I feel like the Chargers, as Taegan noted, they're not the most talented team in the world, but I feel like they're so well coached. And these playoff situations are, I feel like, the kind of games that work well with, our Harbaugh Minter type of, coaching unit that I feel like, it can, these are the kind of games that I feel like the Chargers, even though this probably isn't this isn't their year, this feels like the kind of games where the Chargers are going to thrive in my opinion.
And that's even with a certain very scary someone on the coaching staff.
Well, I did want to
scary.
say this too, because my stepfather's a coach, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. But look at all the teams in the playoffs this year. Like, any of them have a lame duck head coach, or anyone that's going to be fired really soon?
I feel like the only thing I'd say to that is, yeah, there might be some coaches who are past their expiration date, which we will get to soon. But outside of that, like, it's not really something I'd call a lame duck head coach.
Yeah. And my whole entire thing is, like, I think we're starting to see nowadays that it doesn't even matter if you have the elite quarterback. If you don't have a good head coach, you just won't do anything. After all, look at Joe Burrow. He had one of the greatest seasons the quarterback could have, yet he didn't even make the playoffs. Why? Because Zach Taylor is a horrible head coach.
And also their defense sucks.
Yeah, I was gonna compare Lou Anarumo to Hitler.
That's fair. That's true. Their defense fucking sucked. And that is why you invest in a defense. But anyways, with the Chargers, showing why defense is important. Yeah, the Chargers are balanced on offense. And they're also, as I said, they have the number 1 defense in the league. Which, if you told someone before the season the Chargers would have the number 1 defense in the league, they would look at you like an insane person. But that's what happens. And yeah, the Chargers, I like what the Chargers have done this season. I really do.
And hey, who's got it better than them? Nobody.
True. I mean, also, speaking of players growing, I gotta say this real quick. Speaking of players growing, because I just got to watch this man go off against the Raiders last week. Obviously, he still has a lot of work to do to really become, a first-round wide receiver caliber, like justify that pick, but Quentin Johnston has been so much better this season than last year, and that needs to be pointed out.
He's quietly, like, the thing that, because, like, I picked him up in fantasy, and I've been watching him week to week, and it's like, it may have not been the breakout season that, a player, that you would expect from a player like him, but what he did do was massively improve, because, like, if those are the numbers from his rookie season, you're like, this is not, it's not a bad of a pick. But he's someone that went from bust to breakout candidate in 1 year. And that's the thing I really like about John Harbaugh. He's
Jim.
Oh, whatever. John, whatever. The Michigan Harbaugh! Jesus Christ. I hate that there's 2 of them. The fact that...
What are you, Harbaugh racist?
Sure, fuck it. But the honest fact that I really like his playing style, because there's so much coaches that tried to go with analytics, and the thing is, I think Sometimes it will help you in the NFL, but most of it is football sense and gut instinct, and that is what Harbaugh goes with. That is something that that's what I really like about him. He's old style, smash mouth football. He's meant for the playoffs, and if the Chargers do go on a deep run, they beat the Texans, and if you can upset Kansas City, whoo! Watch out, folks, because he's back and not in the NFC.
Yep.
But yeah,
Well,
every time I hear Smash Mouth football, I just imagine, somebody wants, and that body is when somebody gets like massive, like Brian Dawkins type tackled.
yeah. Well, from one Harbaugh brother
And
to
the last thing, I need
another.
to get picks.
We'll
Really?
get
We're
them
gonna pick
tonight.
the winner. We're gonna pick the winner. I
Okay,
shall
we're doing
take
this live?
the Chargers.
I'm going Chargers.
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 I'm gonna be odd man out here. I still think the Texans somehow win it off of bad luck. I know I'm gonna be wrong on that, but that's my one upset pick for this week.
There's no upsets. It's now just
Still.
who's gonna win? Team A or Team B?
Upset.
Noah, who's the winner?
Of Texans Chargers,
Yes, please.
I got the Chargers.
I know
Alright.
Chargers are a better team though, but I think something's gonna happen.
We shall see. Next game.
To Ravens Steelers. Can I
The
just be
other
real?
Harbaugh brother.
No one wants to watch this game. Like no one really wants to sit down and watch Steelers versus Ravens.
I do.
This is a game that we've seen time and time again. And-
Personally, I do, but that's just because I like the Al Michaels ASMR.
Oh no, I like Al Michaels too. But the thing is that we've seen this game time and time again. It is the Steelers are the same formula, and until they get a new guy, a electrifying guy that can come in and change things, they're going to continue to be the same thing over and over and over again. And simply put, this team, the Steelers are such a boring team. They're so boring, dude.
Listen, you're talking about how nobody wants to watch this. Listen, I'm going to say this. If we see more pizza boxes get destroyed by tree, it is more than worth watching.
Yep.
I-
Exactly.
I get that, but still, like,
Taegan,
a lot of-
you're still salty about the AFC North. I know. We know this. I know this, okay? Here's the thing with the Steelers and the Ravens. The Ravens have the momentum. The Steelers don't. The Steelers are in the same script that we've seen them play out before. And now the Steelers have a lot of questions because you lost to the Bengals last week. You somehow made the Bengals defense look like the defense that used to be good and not the defense that was horrible this season. But the fact of the matter is with the Steelers right now, they just look lost. They don't have momentum, and I am hearing so much salt from Urinating Tree about George Pickens.
Don't
and
even get me
honestly, it's
started.
deserved. It is deserved, absolutely, 100%.
There's Chase
There's-
Claypool, George Pickens. There was
What?
Antonio Brown.
and
There was
Rocio
nothing less-
Brown. There was good
I
lord,
said Juju.
Juju Smith-Schuster's one other guy who Mike.
Uh,
no,
It was Martavis Bryant.
Martavis Bryant.
Martavis
How
Bryant,
many
Mike
talented
Wallace.
wide receivers has this team hadn't developed that become total divas that
I
have
was about
then
to say-
fallen off the map?
I was gonna say Mike Wallace for a second.
I mean, I think that should say a little bit on how Mike Tomlin coaches his team. Because if he's just allowing that stuff to happen, then that shows his grip on the locker room.
I don't even
he
think
really
that's his
is-
grip on the
like,
locker
he is
room,
a-
though.
That sticky, icky, grippy. Oh my god, what am I saying?
I feel like it's one of those that, because he's been at it for so long, he knows he's like the safest coach out there, but like, I want to know, how do guys go from humble beginnings to divas in a span of 5 seconds?
But you know, I will say
Easy
for George
money.
Pickens. Well, I'll say for George Pickens, there's the added bonus. He played for Georgia. That also helps.
Georgia Pickens.
I think it mostly comes down to Pittsburgh is a big market town. Well, for sports at the very least, and they will make you into a absolute demigod if you can catch the ball in a cool way. Like,
And
just
quite
think about it.
frankly, I think it has something to do with some of the pollution that ended up in the water after all the steel production.
True, it drives everyone crazy. This is how we get Yinzer mode.
Yeah, and it also made the frogs gay.
Stars trying to Super Bowl! That was
Yeah.
my favorite thing.
Yeah, it takes the Steelers to the Super Bowl and it makes the frogs gay.
Guys, Steelers are going to the Super Bowl. They just got to get the pregame ready. They just have to get the pregame ready for their family, so they can all sit down and watch it at home. You know,
they
can get
just
to the Super Bowl.
gotta nail the parking lot grill. They gotta put the fries in the bag per se.
Yeah.
Get ready to learn Chinese.
And
Put the fries in the bag, Mr. Tomlin. Just put it in.
The fry bag is the fry bag.
Now put the fries in.
I will say this though before we talk about the Ravens real quick. Please have this be the last year of the same Steeler thing. It is dreadfully boring seeing this team from 2017 to right now. And like, I've seen every team kind of evolve ever since I started watching football. Steelers are like the only team that hasn't evolved at all. Like, the Bears have evolved in a weird way where they've basically forced themselves into a corner, because I know some people would say that. The Packers, I mean, they've evolved to a younger generation. The Vikings, they're inconsistent, so I can't really say that they evolved, but inconsistency is still a part of evolution.
They evolved in the same way that the platypus just came out of the woods one day, and people were just like, "The fuck is that thing?"
Yeah,
I think people discovered the platypus after they watched Phineas and Ferb. Let's be honest. And then Perry the Platypus came out of nowhere, and everybody all of a sudden wanted a platypus.
Yeah. But yeah, Steelers are boring. Anywho, Ravens. Hot take. They're not boring. They're not boring, but they are kind of. Let me explain. They are a really fun team to watch, but they are boring in the sense of I've seen this script before. Absolutely exciting season. Playoff game against underachieving team. What's gonna happen now? And my biggest fear that's in my head right now is Lamar Jackson is going to absolutely shit the bed, and people are gonna label him as a playoff choker.
And personally, I will be calling him Lamau Jackson if that happens, because I will be saying Lamau.
I will say this though, I am rooting for a Ravens loss, and I mean like a huge Ravens loss for one reason. John Harbaugh has been in and out of the hot seat for the longest time now, and personally, as a Bears fan, I should be talking about them much. But if there's just one loss that the Ravens are just like, we have to get rid of him, I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind, waiting a little bit to see if we go for either him or Ben Johnson. You see the vision, right, Nick? You see
Yeah,
you see the
I'm
vision,
seeing
right?
I'm seeing the vision. I'm definitely seeing the vision here. I
There's
mean,
a
it's worth noting
vision.
though
I
with the
just
Ravens.
don't
It's
know if
worth
I'd
noting with
call it
Baltimore.
good.
Listen, it's worth noting with Baltimore that Zay Flowers, I'm pretty sure, is out for this
He's
game.
out. Yeah, he's confirmed out.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
out. Okay, so I expect that I expect Bateman, Andrews likely they'll probably have bigger roles here, but obviously the star of the show, not named Lamar Jackson for the Ravens, will be Derrick Henry because I mean, it's Derrick freaking Henry and we're seeing him in the playoffs again. That's lovely to see.
Chef's
Oh yeah,
kiss.
Ren asked who's MVP. I guess we could just kind of get that all railed through. It's Josh Allen
Lamar
or
Jackson
Joe
and
Burrow.
Lamar Jackson's
It's gonna
having another
it's gonna be Lamar.
fantastic season at the helm.
I know voter fatigue is a thing. I know voter fatigue exists, but like, come on, when you put up 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, it's gonna be Lamar. Like, if the Bengals had made the playoffs, honestly, Burrow would have a great conversation, which sucks for him because he's basically becoming the new what if man. And obviously, Josh Allen absolutely still has a big say in the conversation, but let's not lie to ourselves. They're gonna give it to Lamar.
I don't know. Personally, I'm just rooting for the jet bus just because it would be a funnier prank on the football world.
He's winning comeback player of the year. Don't get greedy.
But
Anywho,
he wants both.
no.
Folks,
I will
we're
say
gonna get the
this, though.
first ever MVP and comeback player of the year.
I will say this though. I do hope that they end up changing. They keep comeback player of the year for like players who really came back, and then they make the most improved player award. I think honestly, most improved player award would go hard. Would go so
definitely.
hard.
The NFL needs it, 100%.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. I mean, the thing for the Ravens, it's a game where if you win, you keep your job. If you lose, get ready to put the fries in the bag, buddy.
I mean, not only that too, but they could be losing yet another highly touted coordinator. Because Todd Monken has been really heating up during these interviewing period, which...
Oh, you're talking about the Ravens.
Ravens.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, highly touted offensive coordinator Arthur Smith might be gone.
No.
I mean,
To be fair with Arthur, he was rumored to take the North Carolina job before Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
I will say with Todd Monken, you know, all I'm gonna say is, hey, there's a guy, one of your former players while you coached at Georgia plays for this team in Las Vegas. I'm sure you'd have interest in that.
Nick, I hate to break it to you, but we know you're on Mark Davis's payroll. We've seen the checks. We've seen the bank statements.
We've seen the may or may not be doctored photos of you at the Devontae Adams Taco Bell house.
We may or may not have photos of you getting a photo with Tom Brady.
I mean,
I can neither confirm nor deny
that
those images exist. However, I can definitely say this. The Raiders made me have to make 2 videos in 3 days, and that is all you need to know, because I had to make another video on them, because my first video aged like milk, because the Raiders are many things. Normal isn't one of them.
Yeah. The Ravens. Simply put, this is like the 3rd or 4th time we've been through this shit. If they don't do it this go around, a lot of people are gonna start hating them. They're gonna hate them in the inverse reason of why people hate Mahomes. The Ravens aren't successful when it matters, and the Chiefs are too successful when it matters. I mean, they kind of just have that. They kind of have that late 2020 Saints vibes. I mean early 2020 Saints vibes, where they had Drew Brees
Peyton
and
Manning
they
the
were
Colts. Lamar Jackson
Yeah, the
is
Peyton
very
Manning.
much Peyton Manning the Colts. And remember, early on
Yeah,
in his
look
career, Peyton Manning was considered to be one of the greatest chokers of all time.
Yeah, look
So-
out for Lamar Jackson's forehead to just grow exponentially.
Also, can't wait for Justin Tucker to be called a idiot kicker soon.
Man, we're gonna have to yeller him. That's sad.
Oh no, you want to know the worst vision? And we'll probably make Untitled a fucking Ravens project if this happens. Game comes down to a game-winning field goal for Justin Tucker. It's like a 40-yard, it's like a 40 to 30-yard chip shotter, and he fucking shanks it wide left.
Yeah, it would be like it would be like that Ravens Patriots AFC Championship game.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that one. That was that game is the reason why Tucker became a Raven in the first place, ironically.
Yeah, I want to say
Yeah.
it's because Billy shanked it so bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a 32-yarder, and he shanked it in the worst way you could ever imagine.
Well, as for this current iteration of the Ravens, I just have a little poetic to wax about this team. You can take the Browns out of Cleveland, but you can't take Cleveland out of the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, if the Steelers and the Ravens want to spice things up, all we really need is another fat guy interception.
True. Are we good to pick, or did we have any?
Give me the Ravens.
I'll take the Ravens.
Give me the Ravens.
You know what? Give me the Pittsburgh Gay Frogs.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Nick.
Nick said Ravens.
Oh, my.
I
Okay.
said Ravens.
And then Jugger.
Jugger.
Mm-hmm.
Who's
Ravens
gonna
or Steelers?
Ravens are just the better team. As much as I would love the meme magic of Steelers winning this game to continue, the Ravens are just better.
win? All right,
Well,
on to the
point-
Sunday slate.
Buffalo and Denver. You know what? I'm gonna say my pick right now. I think Denver wins this. I think it's not. I think
What?
I think Denver 100% flats out wins this.
I'm sorry, what?
Well-
Huh?
Denver flat out wins this. You want to know why? Because in my head, I keep on telling myself, there's no way the Bills have not let the other boot drop yet. Josh Allen has never had the one true stain. Obviously, people are gonna say, but Bills Chiefs. Nah, that's not really a stain on him because he did the best he could. That's more of an unfortunate memory. I feel this is the time where Josh Allen truly gets the stain that people can't wash out. And you want to know why? Let me push you towards last year. Remember Bills Broncos when the Broncos were having one of the worst times they've ever had, and they were on the verge of just getting rid of. People were like, Sean Payton should be fired. And then out of nowhere on Monday Night Football at Buffalo, the Broncos go ahead and beat the Bills.
That might have been the Vikings that you're thinking of.
No,
Oh, they did
the
beat them. They beat them on Monday Night Football because Broncos missed the field goal, but they got another chance, and the second time they delivered. And it should be noted, it needs to be noted because I feel like it would be wrong of us to not bring this up. That was the game that got Ken Dorsey fired.
The old tablet smasher.
Yes, and that's what got Joe Brady into the position.
Yeah, and you want to know something else too? I keep on racking my head around this too. Buffalo has been. I get that Buffalo has been kind of on pace, but Buffalo still doesn't have that great of a roster. Legitimately, they just have Josh Allen and James Cook. and a good offensive line. Like,
Well,
as
I would
much
say
as
this,
Deion,
respect the
Coleman!
receivers. Okay, respect the receivers.
no,
Okay.
I was. Let me get to them. Coleman's been good, but he just hasn't. Coleman's been good, but he still hasn't been like the guy yet. Uh, Shakir is still trying to get the wide receiver 1 status put on him. He's had a decent season, but it just hasn't been it yet. They have a very young wide receiver core, and last year they had Stephon Diggs. They had,
But
they had
the thing that
they had
I want to know is that they were statistically better when they weren't targeting Stephon Diggs, and it was one of the reasons why they made the playoffs in the first place, because they removed they weren't giving the ball to Stephon Diggs so much. And without that, I don't think they make the playoffs. They knew that he wasn't the guy that was going to get into the next step, so they moved off of him.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs, can I speak on this as a Stephon
For it.
Stephon Diggs survivor? Stephon Diggs is kind of a weird wide receiver because it's like, yes, he is a good wide receiver, but at the same time, he's like so good that he draws all the attention to him, including all the receivers and stuff, and that just completely neuters his abilities unless there's a wide receiver of equal ability next to him. And the Vikings were able to pull it off because we had Adam Thielen during his prime, but the Bills didn't have that. So it was that weird relationship.
Yeah, and I do want to add, because I know what Luke brought up with that. It's worth noting that in terms of Stephon Diggs' tenure with the Bills, 2023 was by far his worst season with the Bills, and I think that should just be worth noting, because I look at Stephon Diggs and the Bills, and I can see the point where things started to not go so great with him in Buffalo, and 2023 did kind of feel like a little bit of a climax to that. And the thing with the Bills is, yeah, I don't think they have the best receiving core in football, but they have a balanced receiving core. And, in the Joe Brady offense, that can work very well. And the fact of the matter is, with the Bills, I feel like this season, honestly, this offense has been on the level of the Josh Allen offenses we saw with Brian Dable, if not maybe slightly better, which is honestly crazy to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to take away from the fact that what I think there's something that I believe you're kind of like you're turning in, you're trying to steer it into. I will say I think Sean Payton's a better coach than
Sean McDermott.
I will say, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think when it comes to coaching, Sean Payton is, I think, miles above Sean McDermott. And if there was any potential upset to take place, I think it's the Broncos upsetting the Bills.
Yeah.
Everybody's been sleeping on Bo Nix. He,
Something like
as
that
for a
too.
rookie, has been pretty damn good. And for what
Not to
Sean
mention,
Payton has had
too.
to work with this season, especially with the limited cap space, he's done just fine.
Pardon
Not to
the
mention too,
noise,
Cortland
guys.
Sutton has.
We got our snowplow out here because as I said before the podcast, we're expecting 6 inches of snow tonight,
Ugh.
and we already have 2 inches on the ground.
But yeah, I was gonna say this too. Not to mention, Cortland Sutton has had a amazing season, and nobody's talking about it. Cortland Sutton has been consistently a a true alpha wide receiver that's just been drowned out due to the fact that he's dealt with shitty quarterback play for most of his career. And simply put, not to mention too that Marvin Mims is starting to become a good starting to become a true deep threat, and Vele just starting to make improbable catches out of nowhere. It's truly insane that people don't think that this Denver team is a legit contender.
I think Contenders going too far, but they
Yeah,
are a good team.
A legit
They're a
playoff
They're a
contender.
threat. They're a
A
threat.
legit playoff. A legit playoff threat. Sorry.
Well, that's fair. I'm just gonna say this though. If you wanted to make I think if you wanted to make your best argument, the best argument to bring up for this game is the fact that since 2017, Sean Payton is 30-12 against bald head coaches.
That's funny. That's funny. I love that statistic so much.
What a weird fucking stat.
It's so funny. I love it.
But, like, the thing is, it's just... The Broncos, like, I said this, and I say this legitimately, the Broncos could very well make it to the AFC Championship. Now, win it, that's a completely different story. But we saw how they did against the Chiefs earlier in the season, where it came to a blocked field goal. And if you can beat Buffalo, you can definitely beat the Chiefs. Now, do I think they have the firepower to go up against the Ravens? No. Do I think they really have all the... do I think they'll have a good chance against the Chargers? Probably not. Hell, I don't even know how this team matches up against Houston. But ultimately, I mean, Denver can make a run. This is a team that, unlike Steelers, they could beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody. And I feel like that's the same way with Buffalo. Except Buffalo, they have the expectation of beating somebody. Because they've beaten those somebodies before. And if Buffalo loses to Denver, like, obviously it's not a bad loss when you think about it because of how good the Broncos are, but the media is never going to let them live it down. It's going to be hanging over their heads, not only all offseason, but going into next year. Ironically enough, I think this game is like a must-win for Buffalo. So that way they can still have confidence in themselves to know, like, yeah, we can do this. Because if they go from losing to, like, the Chiefs 3 or 4 times in a row to not even being able to beat Denver, that just takes a toll on an organization. And we've seen teams who just cannot get over the slump after getting beaten down time and time again.
Yeah.
I
just wanted to note. Hold on, I wanted to note this, just to add on to Taegan's point about that. It's like, I feel like it would put it would really hang a dark cloud over Buffalo, because if you make it to the divisional round, which has really been the Achilles heel of the Bills for many years now, has been getting past the divisional round and failing to do so outside of 2020. It's the fact that you make the divisional round this year, you're not going to have to play Kansas City. You don't have to play the freaking Red Chiefs team from Kansas City. You don't have to play them. So you have a new path here that is very possible for Buffalo, but obviously first off, you have to get by these pesky Broncos.
Yeah, and pretty much my argument for in this thing is that Sean Payton is an unlovable piece of human shit, and he will never see the light of heaven, and I will never give him his flowers. Fuck him and the bowl of gumbo he wrote in on. That worthless piece of garbage.
He's talking about Bounty Gate, folks.
Yeah. But I think honestly, this is the biggest game. Like, Commanders and Buccaneers is going to be a really fun game, but Broncos and Bills has so much riding on it for both teams. Denver's playing with house money. Buffalo's playing to simply put, still have something left in them.
Yeah.
Know how much more Josh Allen can take losing in this before we have to start giving him the Lamar Jackson treatment.
The thing with Denver for me, I think the Broncos will play a very strong game. Like, I definitely think this will be a close game. No question about it. I think it should be a very competitive game. My thing with Denver, and this is why I have my concerns with the Broncos going into this game, is there's talent here. There's a lot of young talent, but something that the Broncos don't have, that the Bills definitely have, is playoff experience. And that plays a big role in the playoffs, no question. And I think going into an environment like Buffalo, where it's going to be cold as hell, and the Bills haven't lost at Buffalo this season, there's something worth considering here, because I definitely think the Broncos will give a good fight. They will give a very solid fight that, really shows that, hey, the Broncos had a great season and they made it to the playoffs for the first time since Peyton Manning was still their quarterback. The fact of the matter is, I think the Broncos can play a very strong game here, but playoff experience is going to be a big determining factor here, especially for a rookie quarterback like Bo Nix, who has been really good. No denying that anymore. He's been really good, but he's had his moments this season where if you figure him out, he can self-destruct.
Mm-hmm. Wait a second. Do the Broncos have anybody in their organization that was there when they won that Super Bowl?
I don't think so.
Probably not. It's been 8 years ago. 9 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck. I was in college.
Yeah, I doubt that would be the case, but there's also another thing about the Broncos that can give me a little concern about if Bo Nix struggles, this is going to become a bigger factor, is the Broncos don't exactly have the strongest running game. Like, they just don't. And if Bo Nix struggles, that's going to become a much bigger factor in this game, and considering how I already mentioned the Broncos, with their lack of playoff experience, having to go into Buffalo, it's going to be a big toll on them to really overcome that.
Wait, time out. Lewis Hamilton is a minority owner of the Broncos?
Mm-hmm.
The heck? I didn't know that. Good for him.
Yeah.
I think this is the game that, I think there's a lot of games that I think you can argue that are quote unquote pressure cooker games, if you know what I'm getting at. I think a lot of it has a lot of pressure for teams to win, like especially the Ravens and Bills. But I think this game, it might not be the Broncos' time this year per se, but I wouldn't be surprised if there would be an upset here, and of course we'd be talking about there'd be mass changes that would come to the Bills in the offseason if McDermott were to lose this game. But I think it's not there yet. Bo Nix is good, but there may not be there quite yet. But this is also going to be a good litmus test, because if Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels have a really good weekend, holy smokes, was this quarterback class is this the first quarterback class that's lived up to the hype since
2004?
Yeah, in all honesty, that has, like, again, I know I really hyped up this draft class, but the fact that we could be going 6 for 6 in terms of
depending
hit
on
rate,
depending on how JJ McCarthy does.
We'll see, but we're trending to see JJ. Where unless he gets traded, then I kind of would expect more of him to be a bust, just because you spent all your entire season learning the Vikings playbook, working with the coaching staff, to now just being tossed aside. That's hard to do. It's hard for a young player to adjust to each coach's offensive philosophy. It's all dependent on what the Vikings would do, very much, but it's a big wait and see. But the fact that this class has been very good, it has really hit along. This is going to be the next generation of quarterbacks that we're going to be talking about. And the thing too, especially, Allen has a lot of, again, that Peyton Manning in him, where, god damn it, if only Mahomes just didn't exist, you would have a real shot at winning a Super Bowl.
I think he's a lot
Which
more Brett.
Mahomes was never born.
Exactly.
I think it's a lot more. Personally, I think he's a lot more Brett Favre because he plays a much riskier game of football.
Yeah,
And, like,
that's a fair assumption. That's a very
Yeah.
fair assumption.
And I'm glad you brought up Josh Allen here. I'm glad you brought him up because the thing with Josh Allen, I feel like the reason his playoff performances haven't gotten as much scrutiny as someone like Lamar is, I feel like the fact of the matter is, yeah, the Bills have choked under Josh Allen, but a lot of the times it really hasn't been Josh Allen's fault. Like, I feel like none of the Chiefs games have been Josh Allen's fault. Like, the only game where I feel like, in terms of Josh Allen's playoff career, that's not, his first one against the Texans, because yeah, that was admittedly a rough game for him, but the only game where I feel like I could say, yeah, that was, this was a game Josh Allen's going to want back, was probably the game against the Bengals, and that was definitely a really bad game for him. But that's the one exception from what I've seen.
okay, I found two people that are currently on the Denver Broncos staff who were on the Broncos staff during the Super Bowl run. Assistant General Manager Darren Muji, who was the area scout in 2015, and Vice President of Football of Player Development Ray Jackson, who served a similar role in 2015. Oh, and also, here's another reason to not trust the Broncos. You know who their senior offensive assistant is? Goddamn Pete Carmichael.
I forgot he was still in the league.
I wish he wasn't. Nice.
But anyways, I think we can get to our picks. We've heard good arguments from both sides. Oh god, this is gonna be tough. I'm gonna want to hear you guys first. I'm not sold on. I'm not sold on the other ones, but I believe I know who Taegan's taking.
I'm still taking the Bills. I'm not convinced by Taegan. I'm immune to your propaganda. You hear me?
You will become one of us soon. In due time.
Oh, good.
Join the dark side, Nick.
No.
You.
I'm not doing it yet. Not yet, at least. Listen, something tells me that it would be really funny if we have this discussion, and then the Bills go on to just destroy the Broncos. I think this would be very funny. That would be the funniest outcome of this, but I doubt that happens. I expect it to be a
I'm
close
gonna be
game.
honest.
I'll
Of
go
all
the
the
Bills.
games in the playoffs, I think this is gonna be the one that is honestly the biggest blowout. I think the Bills are gonna rout the Broncos. I just don't think the Broncos are ready yet. I just don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh yeah, Brent is a Josh Allen fan who says you have to believe, but I need my Pookie Bear Allen to win.
Well, Ren, we'll see how his. Well, this man did tell me earlier that next year, his father said he's going to take him to any home Falcons game he wants, and his father said, I can take a guess on which game you want to go because the Bills play the Falcons at home. Well, at the Falcons home next year, so he'll be going to that.
Of course, for his Pookie Bear.
Yeah.
I shall go with the Bills. I'm not quite there yet.
Jugger, join me. We will ride our boners into the sunset.
Jugger, put this man in the crystal.
No, Jugger. My propaganda works. You know how this goes.
Bills flatten the Broncos.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Crystal!
You know, when the Broncos win...
Bears fan. You're going in the crystal. It's a big, beautiful crystal. The best. In fact.
Just wait. Just wait. When we do the podcast on fucking Friday next week, you guys are gonna feel so silly.
Yeah, that we ever bothered to listen to you.
Jesus. All right, next game: Packers, Eagles.
Eagles.
I think
Eagles.
this is. I want to spend like 2 seconds. I think Eagles steamroll these
Eagles
fuckers.
have too much high-end talent.
Yeah,
They lost Watson
Fuck
for the
the
year. I think
Packers.
the Packers are screwed.
I'm picking the Eagles because they're fucked.
And that's putting it kindly.
Yeah, this is the death that Green Bay deserves. Fuck you.
Too many injuries. Too many they don't have. I feel like they're lacking a true number one wide receiver, and
That's what I said this past off season. They've had a bunch of number 2 guys, but like no number 1. Because Matt LaFleur's just like, oh gosh, darn it, I just love these guys so much, I can't pick a number 1 out of any of them.
I mean, to be fair, I will say that actually was a discussion we had before the season. 2 of those discussions were, who will step up as the Packers' number 1 wide receiver, and, well, nobody has. And can Jordan Love become a great quarterback, and that still hasn't happened yet. So, regarding this game, because I still remember what the Packers can do come playoff time, especially when they are given the 6th or 7th seed, but the thing with the Packers here is quite simple. They're too injured. Like, Jordan Love, yes, he's playing, he's injured. Christian Watson is out. Like, there's so many injuries to the Packers, and I know the Eagles, I know Jalen Hurts is coming off an injury, but I've seen before that Jalen Hurts can play well when given a lot of time off, like he did in the 2022 playoffs. And of course, I feel like this is going to be a battle between really the run games, because the Packers are going to have to rely on the run game with Josh Jacobs, because, well, Packers are just, they're a lot of their offenses are depleted, and the Eagles, granted, they don't have as much reliance on it, but it's Saquon Barkley having an incredible season. You can do it.
No, mom spaghetti. No.
I will say this for the most part. If the Packers play against, like, I don't know, and no offense to you, Spencer, but I feel like if the Packers are playing against a team like the Vikings, the Bucks, like any other team besides like the Eagles, I feel like it's a lot closer. But simply put, I think the only way the Packers win is if they have a better running back than the other team. And simply put, like, I maybe give Josh Jacobs the edge against Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. But against Saquon Barkley, no, it's Jover.
Yeah, this is the worst. This is the worst matchup for the Packers, which is why I'm going to Eagles. But yeah, it's just it's the worst possible matchup for them.
I'm guessing we're all going Eagles.
Yeah, and also, Mom Spaghetti. No, we're not gonna let you be delusional, man. Give it up. It's over, bro.
It's someone from the serve. It's someone from the gaggle.
I still want to call them out. Like,
it's fine. It's funny. It's funny. It's funny laughing.
Hey, if you really want to call him out, just tell him to fix his fucking fire alarm.
True. Yes.
Fix your fire alarm, and maybe then I'll unmute you. Your big
Oh,
dad.
that's such a classic Niners thing fan to do. You leave your fire alarm on.
Yeah.
Typical Niners move.
Maybe the Niners will fix themselves when you bother to change the fucking batteries in your smoke alarm, huh?
Yeah, you know what? That's right, Mom Spaghetti. If you can get your fire alarm fixed, Niners will win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, change your fire alarm batteries, and the Niners will go to the Super Bowl, man. That's
or at least press the button on it so you don't have to hear it for at least 8 hours.
What the fuck is wrong with you? mom's spaghetti.
I mean, I lived in a brand new apartment. Somehow, like the batteries went dead within like the first 2 months of being here. We never triggered them or anything. Most annoying thing on the planet, we got those changed instantly. You gotta change it, man. You gotta do it, dude. You gotta do it.
Dude.
You gotta do it. Anyways, I'm guessing we're all gonna curse the Eagles here by picking the Eagles. Am I right?
Mhm. Yep.
You know what? If we curse them all well, but
So Eagles are officially on curse week.
Y'all are weak? Oh, no.
You know what? That's fair. Some people of us like to have our sanity.
Yeah.
Y'all are weak. I'm sorry. I don't like the beep. I don't like.
Sorry, I don't
I'm
speak
sorry, man.
broke ass bitch. Can't even afford batteries. Bitch.
I mean, here's the no. The real thing is it's okay. I mean, sure, you don't have the sanity to change your fire alarm. I get that. I guess I too lose my sanity if I had to watch the early 2000s Niners.
Bitch.
I don't even know how. I know that I think he's like. I know
do you think he doesn't buy
high
batteries
school.
because batteries like BA and you can't buy anything that because you know what Trent Baalke did to this team?
Oh, I see.
Because of BA, because BA.
Especially
you can't do it because battery has the 2 letters and Trent Baalke completely destroyed my team.
Well, I mean,
therefore,
and you know
I'll
what
never
else?
buy a battery.
Dude.
This man plays with a dead controller.
Dude, double A's? You know what else is a double A? Trent Baalke.
See, there's too many A's. Too many A's. Too many A's. Right? That there's too many letters. In battery. Okay, you know what? We got a breakthrough here, chat. We finally have our breakthrough.
Yeah, you ever play Psychonauts, Luke?
I've heard of it.
You should really play it sometime. It's like a really fun, like 3D platformer.
Oh, platforming. Fuck, I'm so bad at them.
Really?
I can't do 3D platformers. I am atrociously bad at them.
They were like my bread and butter growing up.
That's fair. Yeah, I can't do 3D platformers.
Anyway, I believe next up is the commies and the Buccaneers.
I have my prediction.
I hate.
Alright, Nick, fire away.
I'm going to Buccaneers. They have the playoff experience. I feel like the Commanders and Bucks are both interesting. You know, both have had different paths here. But the fact of the matter is, it's really going to be interesting watching this game because, you know, they played each other in week 1 and the Bucks won in decisive fashion over Washington. And it's really wild to think how far Washington has come from, you know, week 1 and getting blown out by Tampa Bay to going to be really interesting to see, you know, what is different this time between the Commanders and the Buccaneers from week 1. How much has changed and what's different. But the reason I'm going with Tampa Bay is I think Baker's better than Jaden Daniels, which obviously says a lot more about Baker than it does Jaden, because Daniels has had a great rookie season, but this is Baker Mayfield we're talking about. And I also think the Buccaneers have the better run game with Bucky Irving and, you know, Rashad White and all that. And, you know, even with some of their depleted core, their wide receiver core is still more than good enough to match up with Washington. And I think the fact with Tampa Bay is, unlike Washington, they have the playoff experience, not just with Baker, but a lot of the guys on this Buccaneers team were still here when Brady was on the team. So the Buccaneers just have an edge over the Commanders, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And can I say something about the Commanders' defense that might be a little their run D, it seems like a little lackluster, even with the addition of Johnny Newton in the draft. It just feels like their run D has been underwhelming.
That's fair to say.
I will say this. look, I'm picking the Buccaneers, but a part of me is picking them out of spite.
Taegan, I
Can I
need this
just
pick
say-
without a spite.
yeah.
Anything involving the
it's
Commanders
not-
is gonna be spite because I think you do too much of like the whole Twitter thing where it's like, oh, James Sanders is so much better than Caleb Williams.
No, it's not that. It's
It's
honestly
Hail
more
Mary
because
trauma.
of
It's
the.
okay.
It's not even just that. Part of it is that, and I won't even. For me, it's more. I'm kind of just frustrated because I know how you say a lot of teams like talk shit, and before like they do anything. And I've started to come around to that, and I've noticed a lot of Bears fans feel like that recently, and I've been more annoyed, and I've been more vocal about that recently. I have not seen a team more like that than the fucking Buccaneers. I mean, than the fucking Commanders. I hate to break it. I hate to fucking break it to people, but the Commanders still have a guy who, granted, Dan Quinn has done good in developing Jaden Daniels. I won't say that. But remember, this was the guy that choked so many games away in Atlanta. I'm not saying he does it here because I don't want to obviously cast that upon anyone. But simply put, it's just, dude. Wait, once you win a playoff game, 100% talk your shit. And I've been kind of the same way on. I've kind of learned to accept that with the Bears now. Until we win a playoff game, I'll stay relatively quiet. I'll be in my little corner hyped, you know, because there's a difference between hype and then there's a difference between like being like you know everything that's going to happen. And I think Commanders fans, they just need to chill. And I feel like this would be a good slap back to reality. Whoops, there goes gravity.
You swine! It's there goes gravity.
I'm
Fake
Spencer
Eminem
9/11.
Fake Eminem fan.
Says the person that didn't even like his most recent album.
That's how
Fake
you know I'm a
fan.
real Eminem fan, because I hate his
No,
Damn. I mean, I'm gonna pick the Commanders here. I think this is just to see. This is how I just feel about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in general. I'm not wowed by them. I feel they are very fraudulent in my opinion. Baker's having the best year of his life. Don't get me wrong. Bucky Irving's great, but that's it. That's all they have, right?
Mike Evans.
I like Mike Evans. He's great, but I think this team, they're not, I don't think they're doing it for me this year.
Well,
I don't think they're doing it for me this year.
That's okay. That's okay, Unc. We can put you into the retirement home.
They I feel like they're fraudulent. I feel like they barely escaped the South this year. Like,
right,
They
but
did.
They barely did.
They did.
They
That's the
barely
thing, though.
escaped
They
the
did.
South this year.
well,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
barely
you
escaped it, but they did. That's
They
all
did.
that matters.
That's what matters,
could
right?
maybe,
But like, the South is the weakest division by far, and I think
It was the worst.
Luke,
It was the worst division in football last year too.
Mhm.
Like,
yeah.
you're right.
the
And
Bucks
last
barely
year,
escaped that
last year the Bucks had the
Eagle
advantage.
Pass.
Last
What do you-
year,
Listen,
hold
I
up,
find
hold
it
up.
funny. Sorry to interrupt, but I find it funny how, just want to say, it's really funny. Yeah, we say that about the NFC South. They're not even the worst South in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Well, hold on. Let me finish.
But yeah, continue.
Right?
Continue, Luke.
Last year, Tampa Bay played the Eagles that were very fraudulent. We all saw the writing on the wall for the Eagles. All of us did. We all did. I picked the Bucks to win. Right? I think they did well enough against the Lions but I think Tampa Bay played much better last year than this year. That's the point I'm trying to get at. I think, you know, they barely crawled out. If the Falcons beat the Commanders 2 Sundays ago, it'd be the Falcons. A rematch between the Falcons and the Commanders, and I'd take the Falcons over the Commanders. But I'm just not wowed by Tampa Bay.
If I may offer a counter,
but dude, I'm not sold on this team. I'm not sold on their current coaching staff. I think they're holding them back. I think coaching is what's holding this team back.
Can I offer a counterpoint?
I would not say that about Liam Cohen, but others. Okay, you can maybe make an argument for it. Here's what I will say this though about the Buccaneers. There is one big flaw with Tampa Bay that I've noticed all season, that it's really funny how this happens, and I will say why it's funny, is that the Buccaneers have lost a lot of close games this season. And some of those games have been overtime games. And I've mentioned that because I feel like if Washington wants to try and win this game, the Commanders need to have it be a close game in the fourth. It has to be a close game in the fourth, unless Washington is just, having a great game. The way to beat Tampa Bay is make it a close game, because Washington has been great in close games this season, and Tampa Bay has had their struggles in close games. Like some of the games against the Falcons, the Niners game, the Chiefs game, the Cowboys game, and, those were close losses that could have been avoidable. But the funny thing about those games that I just want to bring up is, the fact of the matter is, the Bucs lost those games, and none of them were Baker Mayfield's fault. Like, I find that really funny that none of those games were Baker Mayfield's fault, and the Bucs lost those games because the Bucs have had trouble in close games this season, and I've noticed that their defense, while it can be clutch at times, it has had a lot of trouble when it comes to stopping teams in close games. And that's gonna be something just to point out, because I'm picking Tampa Bay here. I do think the Buccaneers are gonna win this game, but it is proven that the Bucs do have a clutch problem at times. They can lack those clutch genes at times, whether it's mainly because of their defense and stuff. But Tampa Bay, I'm still picking them because they've been here before. They have the playoff experience that Washington doesn't have. And I do want to note, because Spencer brought this up and I pulled it up. Washington's run defense is the third worst in the NFL. Bucky Irving's going to have a fun time out there.
You mean Ducky Irving? But what did you want to say, Spencer?
Yeah, Bussy Irving, I like to call him, because I am a degenerate individual. Personally, I actually think I'm actually going to be taking the Commanders because for me at least, it would be like a storybook ending to the Snyder era, because the final ever playoff win that happened in the Snyder era was in 2007 against the John Gruden Buccaneers. So I think this would be like the perfect synchronicity to signify the good times are back, baby.
It would be storybook.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
there's nothing the NFL loves more than a hot, steamy, juicy narrative.
That's fair. The last note that I want to kind of add here with this game, is that again, we go back to the whole clutch gene and NFL play again. If the Commanders play the Bucs tight, I think that's how the Commanders win. And the one thing that I feel like Tampa Bay has really struggled to do is they really struggled to put opponents away. That's been my biggest thing about that's been my biggest complaint about the Bucs, is that if they had an ability to really put opponents away, don't get me wrong, they've had games where they've started really hot out of the gate and finished, but there's times where they start hot, but just kind of just coast. And that's where I think I'm not too sold on Tampa Bay for this year, at least. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
I don't think so.
All right, Jugger, Noah, picks who's winning.
Honestly, I think we're talking about the clutch stream, but I honestly don't think it's going to be that close. Look, I like Daniels. I do like him. But, man, I think it's just another Broncos thing. Baker's got the experience. He's having one of the best seasons of his entire career. If they can't stop Baker to Evans, this one's not going to be very close. I think there's going to be at least 2 scores. Bucks win easily.
Yeah, I'm gonna side with him on that as well.
Of course, you would say that, you fucking Floridian.
I mean, I'm a Saints fan, okay? They're a division rival.
That is fair.
Anyway, speaking of one of our teams, I believe the next matchup involves my team, the good old Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota.
And, oh yeah, you betcha, as they go up against the Rams in Phoenix, Arizona. And before we talk about the games, I know this is a weird time to do it, but I'd like to give a moment of silence to those lives lost and affected by the wildfires in Los Angeles, or at least just be like, hey, we acknowledge you. We're very sorry about what you're going through. And may God heal your burnt house.
No, it's a rough time, but sports
Yeah.
brings people together.
Thoughts and prayers for everybody out in LA right now, dealing with just a horrifying fire. People's homes have been lost, lives lost. Only thing I can say is, I hope, especially with this game, that this entire weekend, that, cumulative about, 8 to 21 hours of competitive football games are enough to really make what has happened in LA forgettable, just forget for that time frame.
Yeah.
And, we hope that we're at the point where, the healing can begin. But if you did lose something, if people are out there who have lost stuff, we are very sorry.
I almost feel bad for wanting the Vikings to win this game, but it's
They're your team.
They're my team, and I want the curse of the franchise to end, man.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing.
I have some bad news,
People-
Spencer.
Is it that we're cursed? Because I know.
We all know That's Good Sports' beautiful satanic wheel, the curse wheel. It landed on the Vikings.
Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Last time it did that, Kirk Cousins got his Achilles torn.
So, this curse wheel, the Seahawks have been affected by the curse wheel. Yeah, I think I know what I'm picking. This thing has been a fucking monster all season long.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have faith, goddammit, because if I may take a moment to at least have a little bit of a retrospective on the Vikings season and what came to this. Will you indulge me in that?
You can go for it, my friend.
As many of you know, the season got off to a very not good start, with practically everybody getting injured at training camp, including rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy after a really good showing at practice camp. And everybody was predicting them to go 5-12, 6-11. Even I was damn it, it's one of those years for the Vikings, isn't it? You know, you actually hear it in my Viking section for the Sickos Guide, but
Yeah.
then the darndest thing happened. The darnoldest thing happened. They kept winning. Like, they, week 1, oh, it's just the Giants, anybody can beat the Giants, but, let's see what they do against a real team like the 49ers. They win. Yeah, well, the 49ers, they're up and down. Let's see what they do against a real team like the Texans.
No. The real thing against the Niners was, the Vikings are just Brock Purdy's demon.
Yeah, let's see how they do against a team that doesn't have that isn't Brock Purdy's equivalent of Satan. And the Houston Texans, they win dominantly even, and then let's see how they do against their division rival, who's also doing good, the Packers. They win, and then minus a few duds against the Lions and Rams, they keep winning. Oh my god!
I can't stop winning.
I was like,
They have Sam freaking Darnold, no expectations, and yet not only is the offense clicking in the same way that it did with Cousins, maybe even a little better, now that we have an actually mobile quarterback, but that defense, oh my god, that defense is just pure sex. So much fucking blitz packages, and it's basically brought Andrew Van Ginkel back from the dead, and Blake Cashman's gotten his flowers. Jonathan Grenard looks like the next big pass rusher here. Ivan Pace has been putting up good numbers. Harrison Phillips even. Even Levi Drake Rodriguez, a 7th rounder out of fucking Commerce, Texas, has been looking good. Holy. Oh.
Yeah, I
you were
think
gonna
he's
say
been
something,
very
Nick?
excited about this team all year long.
yeah.
You're gonna say something, Nick?
Yeah, I was gonna say, because you bring up the motto, they keep winning. And it reminds me of what's been said about a certain hockey team from Vegas. When you expect the wheels to finally come off, when you expect the magic to run out, they keep winning. And that's what the Vikings have been doing this season. They just keep winning. And it's really impressive how, for just how awful of a preseason, how, in the tragedies like, losing Kyrie Jackson and
Oh, I forgot to mention Kyrie Jackson with this car accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just everything that going into the season where it looked like, well, Vikings have they got a lot to climb here to really find anything to really cling to this season, and well, they did that. And then they kept climbing, and of course, 14-3, and they're in the playoffs when nobody was expecting it. And, the Vikings really are a team where it's for a team that's 14-3, this never gets said, but I feel like the Vikings are playing with house money here.
Oh, for sure. I feel down about a loss for 5 minutes, and then I realized, oh wait, we're only paying our quarterback $10 million for this.
Yeah,
and then
it's it's so out of the ordinary because you would never say a team that got 14 wins is a team playing with house money. But guess what? That's just the Viking way this season.
Mm-hmm. The Vikings have been incredibly fun to watch. I love years where, what are your expectations? Nothing. Let's just have fun. Those are the, like, again, when I, like, 2021 Mariners and 2022, like, 2021 Mariners and the 22 Mariners, so much fun to watch. Expectations, none. And they were so much fun to watch. It's so much more enjoyable to watch when your team has zero expectations and they're winning anyways.
And I feel like nothing really exemplifies how like fun the vibes are in Minnesota any more than the defensive takeaway celebrations that Cameron Bynum and the defense have been doing. Like, you know, they've been doing like Usher, Camp Rock, High School Musical.
My fiance especially liked the High School Musical. She really loved it because she's a big fan of High School Musical. She really liked it. She really liked it when they did that.
For the record, my parents were a big fan of the Parent Trap celebration.
Yeah, I like what the Vikings have done this year, and I mean, there's an elephant in the room we have to address, and that's something that the Vikings are going to have to pick: Darnold or McCarthy.
I would like to chime in real quick and say this. Who says that JJ McCarthy can't just go down the Jordan Love path? Why not have him rest under Darnold?
But
give Darnold like a 2-year deal.
Darnold's not going to take a 2-year deal, though. That's the thing. He's going to take some. I think he gets
if
4
you pay
to 5.
If you pay a quarterback enough money, they'll take any deal.
I know, but it's all about guarantees. And if you all you have to do is guarantee 3 years, you lose Darnold.
Well, actually, as a Vikings fan, I've gotten this question a lot, and my answer has remained the same pretty much throughout this whole ordeal, thanks to a certain move we've made in November, and that's keep McCarthy and then have Daniel Jones as our QB2. I think that would be
a fair option.
Yeah,
that's a good option, because the problem is, sure, you give them enough money, but if someone all they have to do is, I think Darnold can get 3 years guaranteed, like fully guaranteed at about $40 million. Somebody's gonna give him that contract. There are lots of, like, he is the #1 free agent target in this year's off season.
Oh yeah, somebody.
Right, but maybe Darnold might not.
I suspect that contract is going to be covered in Cheeto dust, if you catch my drift.
That's fair. Because like, there's lots of Colts are going to be in the market. The Seahawks, the Rams, the Niners. Everybody is going to be in the market. Most teams who need a quarterback are going to be looking at seeing what Darnold can do. And honestly, like, the easiest answer, franchise tag. But you have the thing of, you franchise tag Darnold. What if Darnold just doesn't play or sign the franchise tag? That to me seems like a little bit scummy, right? I see the route with Jordan Love, but the answer is, I think, more of, Spencer's more right on this one. It's Daniel Jones.
Right, but who says that Darnold wants at the big bucks? Who says that Darnold doesn't want to stay in Minnesota and try to win a Super Bowl there?
Dude.
There are multiple paths someone can take. You're taking the idea of Darnold just wants money, and it's like,
no, but like, the thing is, it'd be something different if it was like Darnold was like year 4, he's in year 7. This is time to get paid. He's
also like surprisingly young, though.
He is surprisingly young. You're absolutely right. But this is the part where a quarterback gets paid, right?
Yeah,
sure, the Vikings could easily, if he wants to win, he'll sign a 1-year, $40 million deal. Done, right? Done.
But by the way, the Darnold has been so good. He made his first ever Pro Bowl. Congratulations, buddy.
Look,
Thank you, Pro Bowl. Very cool.
I'm just saying it's not all cut and dry. Like I think honestly, if I'm Sam Darnold and I'm at this point, why not try sticking with the Vikings? They're the first team, to like since like the Panthers to actually where you've had my brain's not working right now. The Vikings are the first team since the Panthers to have some sort of stability where he's actually been able to be around a fan base that wants him around. Like, here's the thing: who's to say that Darnold wants? Who says that Darnold doesn't want to compete? Doesn't want to
You're right, but like the Rams are going to be a team that's going to be competing for Super Bowls with a genius head coach in Sean McVay.
Right, but you also have to take in mind loyalty. The Vikings took a chance on him.
The thing is, right? And again, Darnold can easily sign a 1-year, $40 million deal. That's not out of the question. He can easily do that. But if I were Darnold in his shoes, Rams offer me, they guarantee my first 3 years, 4-year deal, $160 million deal. I'm signing that right away. There are
and
teams
we're talking
that are
about
going
big shoes here, folks.
They're going to give him the money. But the Vikings could easily say, okay, we're going to trade J.J. McCarthy. Sam, here's a 5-year deal. We're guaranteeing the first 4 years and not let him leave the building. That is also an option. We're going to have to wait and see. And again, I don't know. Right now it's a coin flip. Both answers have validity to it. And I think the answer is if you're going to keep Darnold, I feel like you're more likely to sign Darnold to a massive extension than a 1-year extension. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't think you're going to Jordan Love McCarthy. You're not going to do that. I don't think Darnold has the intentions to have somebody breathing down his neck another year. I think you want to have your long-term starting position now than later. Alright, and we could be wrong. Darnold could love loyalty. Could be, I love Minnesota. I love playing here. I'm gonna stay and play in Minnesota. I'll mentor JJ McCarthy. That's an option too. But none of us are Sam Darnold. So we don't.
Yeah, you could just be like, yeah, I want to stay here and get sweet, passionate kisses from Josh McCown.
Exactly. There's that, right? It's to me, it's such a 50-50 on this one. I could see him staying in Minnesota. I could see him going somewhere else. The Vikings have probably a tough decision to make.
It's a tough decision, but it's a decision that means we're in a very good spot organization-wise. And I love what the people up top have made this team into. Mm-hmm. It tells me not only are they a good organization, they're willing to, invest in a future.
100, absolutely. That is something that the Vikings have done. Like, Kevin O'Connell he may not have the hardware, but he's one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He just lacks hardware. That's it. If he had the hardware, he'd be seen as one of the best coaches in the NFL. But, man,
he's basically seen right now as like pre-2021 McVay.
Yeah.
Lots of answers, lots of choices they have to make. We'll see if it's the right one going forward, but on to the Rams. Boy, wouldn't the Rams just love Sam Darnold?
Ram Darnold.
The Rams are old, beaten, bruised. Stafford looks like he's on his way out. This should make total sense. And then they just lost home field advantage. Not like that their stadium is home field advantage to begin with.
What I
Whose
don't,
hou-
what I,
Whose house? The Cardinals' house.
Mhm.
I will say this though about the whole Rams thing. It's like, what do you do? Like, here's the thing. I don't think they can move off Stafford just yet because he still has a couple more years left on his contract.
He
still has
doesn't have. Stafford was looking at a new deal.
Let me take a look at what his.
I don't think
contract
he's got.
is
I
looking like.
think his contract is
I'm
very
looking it up.
movable in the offseason.
Hold on. I got it on. Okay, I'm waiting for it to pull up.
I'm on Spot Track right now.
Yeah.
All right, I'm on it. Matthew Stafford. Yep, he's got a potential out next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again,
And I will say that dead cap
very
is
movable.
manageable. It's a movable contract.
It's because the key words that I heard was Stafford wants a new deal, which means you want them to basically guarantee the rest of it. And this was the kind of the year where you would really want to prove that yes, you're worth keeping around. He hasn't been this year. Stafford's been
With
very.
Stafford that I've noted.
Mhm.
Sorry to interrupt you, Luke, but there's something I've really noted is granted, the Rams did win all 3 of these games, but the last 3 games that Stafford played this season, he looked horrible in all 3 of them, and that is concerning. That's something that definitely concerns me for the Rams going into this game. Yeah, they won all 3. They won those games against the Cardinals, Jets, and the Niners, but good lord, it was in spite of the offense.
And you know who else beat the Cardinals, Jets, and Niners this year? And looked significantly better doing so?
I just really wish that the Seahawks would have played better. It's just another classic mid Seahawks season.
I guess my thing is, who would the hell want Stafford at this point?
They would cut him.
Yeah, cut.
Cut. It's similar to what the Seahawks are going to do with Lockett. I knew that Seattle, he wasn't going to finish his full contract in Seattle. You're going to cut him, and that's the thing about the NFL that's so different from like a league like the NHL. Whereas if it's the NHL and your contract was fully guaranteed, right? You couldn't move off of Darnold. Stafford. It's impossible to move off of Stafford. But Stafford's mostly out of guarantees. So, meaning the contract is indeed very move-offable. But I'm also picking the Rams because I'm scared of that fucking wheel.
You know what? Wheel don't scare me. Give me the Vikes. Goal. Famous last words, I know.
All good, man.
I'm going Vikings.
Go for Taegan?
I'm going Vikings.
Okay.
Simply put, the only reason why I'm going Vikings is because Rams lost home field advantage. Only reason.
And for the record, I wish this game was being held in St. Louis for the lulz.
It would be funny, but I don't think their stadium is NFL regulated. I think they would. It's UFL regulated because, I mean, do you want to know what the shocking thing is about the Rams? The Battlehawks? They don't have an owner yet. They're still, all teams in the UFL are still owned by the UFL themselves.
But yeah, I just think one more time with the St. Louis Rams would be very funny.
It would be. It would be very funny. But to give my prediction, listen, I'm not going to deny there is a curse to that wheel. There's no question about it. That wheel is very much a cursed wheel. However, I feel like just seeing what I saw from the Rams to end the season and just seeing how poorly Matthew Stafford was playing, and I feel like, after losing last week, I feel like the Vikings, especially given the circumstances now, the Vikings are really going to want to take some anger out after last week I gotta go with the Vikings.
Oh, oh my god! I can't wait to see what kind of wacky ass blitz packages Flores has planned against Stafford.
All right, Juggernaut, what are your takes?
All right, here's my thing about the Rams. This is actually the one that I had the hardest time picking of the wild card round. Because the Rams, we talked about how the Vikings defied expectations, but the Rams are just straight up Nosferatu at this point. Second straight year they recover from injuries and fight all the way to the playoffs, despite practically being dead early on in the season.
That is also true. That needs to be said.
Yeah, but look how that ended. You know,
one and done.
Yep.
It ended one and done, but it was a close game.
True. That is also
Regardless, I still have the Vikings winning this one, as I still think that the Vikings are better than. I still think the Vikings are the overall better unit over the Rams, even though the Rams did beat the Vikings in the regular season. But it should be noted that the Lions did figure out Sam Darnold's biggest weakness, and that's throwing the ball too long. So if the Rams are able to dial up the pressure and get Sam if the Rams are able to dial up the pressure, this could end up being a pretty low-scoring game for the Vikings. So it's all down to So really, I believe the deciding factor will be Minnesota's offensive line. If they can hold down the Rams, then the Vikings will win. If it's able to get to Darnold, then the Rams are going to win. Because Sam Darnold takes a lot of time to throw the ball. I noticed that a lot in Sunday Night Football. And that is what the Vikings what the Vikings use to clinch the division. Sam Darnold just could not throw well. He didn't have time in the pocket. Not necessarily because the offensive line sucked, but because he just takes a lot of time to find his routes. And that is okay. That's perfectly fine. But if the pressure gets to you, then, well, Sunday Night Football happens. Regardless, I still think the Vikings are going to hold on to win, if only because of their defense. Sam Darnold's probably going to get a few good throws in there, and yeah.
Alright, Jugger, who is your pick?
I think Sam Darnold recovers from last week.
The Darnold.
The Darnold. He's going to lead the Vikings to victory. Although I do admit that if there's anyone that's going to beat the Vikings, it's the Rams.
Project Super Bowl 2025, folks. It's gonna happen. I think that's what I'm gonna miss the most if Sam Darnold moves to another team, is making these shitty the Darnold jokes.
Dude, the Darnold jokes are funny. We could still make him with another team if he still balls out.
Right, but still, like, the fact that he was with the Vikings is what inspired me to make Untitled Juggerbear's project.
The Vikings can't let go of Kevin O'Connell, man. They just cannot.
Dude,
He's made Cousin look good. He's revived Sam Darnold. O'Connell wants to stay with the Vikings. They can't let him go.
Yeah,
they just can't.
He just said in the conference he loves Minnesota, and quite honestly, one of the reasons I'm fine having Daniel Jones as the QB2 is because, you know, if he can revive Darnold like that, what kind of voodoo magic can he do to Danny Dimes?
Even that, I mean,
some quarterbacks are just unfixable. Like, can we be real? Some quarterbacks are just unfixable.
Oh, that's true. It's just, you know, I think if there's any place for Daniel Jones to be a quarterback too, Minnesota is honestly as good as it can get.
I do want to say real quick, just to get my thoughts out on Minnesota. I think honestly going into next year, we're going to have no idea where the hell this team is. Because if JJ McCarthy is starting, I feel like we're going to see a very, very different team. Because in my opinion, like, JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold are two very different players. Darnold looked like a gunslinger when he was in Minnesota this year. JJ McCarthy was mostly a guy that took the checkdowns
But I feel like
up
there's
in-
nothing wrong with what JJ did at Michigan.
Oh no,
It's,
there's nothing
again,
wrong.
did you get the kids to the pool? He did.
Yeah,
Okay, he did his job.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just more or less we're gonna see a completely different offense next year, depending on which quarterback is coming.
And
Because if Darnold is staying,
quite
whoopee. But
frankly,
if
that's the Vikings way, man. Be confusing as hell. Win
Yeah,
games,
and-
lose games.
True. Yeah, and that's the same with McCarthy, because I remember I felt this way, about McCarthy going into the NFL draft is, McCarthy doesn't have the highest ceiling like, other quarterbacks in this highly touted class do, but he has, in my opinion, the highest floor. Like, he has the highest floor of any quarterback in this draft class, and that's because, he is someone who takes the easy passes and, does what's given to him and makes it work. And that's why he did so well at Michigan, and Michigan eventually, won a national title with him at quarterback. And, I think the Kevin O'Connell offense, having someone like Kevin O'Connell, like having strong coaching like that, similar to what JJ had with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, I think JJ will thrive in that. And this is the exact kind of system that, someone like JJ McCarthy would just love to be in.
And here's something, with Darnold, I feel like with JJ learning under Darnold's wing, he's probably picking up on how to take some of those deep shots a lot more than he was learning about in the Big Ten. Going back to Big Ten slander, he definitely probably had to learn a lot of 3 yards in a cloud of dust type offense there, whereas in Minnesota he could probably learn about good old fuck it chuck it football, as they call it.
And even then, I think Kevin O'Connell is the perfect person to continue his career, because I mentioned this earlier. If JJ goes anywhere else, I don't think he's gonna be that successful. I think it's because I go with my logic is if you change the coach and the OC on a rookie quarterback going into year 2, they're not going to make it. They're never going to reach their ceiling. Because you can't, it's so hard to learn different systems every single offseason. Whereas right now you can learn, okay, these are where the mistakes I've made. If the whole gang stays together, you can adjust, tweak things a bit differently, and it's much more comfortable, a quarterback is much more comfortable going into the next year.
And you know what else? The Vikings have a really high amount of cap space going into next year, so they can spend on a few splash players even.
The options are very endless.
The world's your oyster if you're Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Again, you could sign Darnold and trade McCarthy. You have that is such an option that this team has. There's lots of options to go around that the Vikings have.
I swear to God, if we trade McCarthy for Penix, I'm gonna kill you.
No, you're not getting Penix. But if you did get Penix, guess what time it is? It's 100 hours of VTuber Spencer!
I'm gonna learn you about an American tradition we call murder.
Oh wait, I just need to go. Spencer, I just got to go to any American school, and it's bound to happen.
Wild. Also, I did want to say real quick, a really underrated piece is Aaron Jones. The Vikings have to re-sign him after this season. If they don't, they're doing some really bad malpractice.
Oh yeah.
He's coming off his second best season since 2019. He's had the most running yards he's ever had. Granted, rushing touchdowns was low, but that's still third all time. And not to mention, too, he has the second most receptions he's ever had in his entire career.
Yeah, I gotta say, I had little to no expectations about Aaron Jones coming into this year, but oh my god, best $7 million we ever spent. And holy crap, I can't believe the Packers were just, they saw a possible tandem between him and Josh Jacobs, and we're just like,
Spencer,
hang on.
let me put you on some game. If you really want to make Packers' life a living hell, let's hear me out. We'll bench Aaron Jones on the games that we play you guys, but you let Aaron Jones come to Chicago, and you know what? Chicago really needs a better rushing game. So think about it. We have Aaron Jones rush for over 200 yards per game against the Packers, and all you got to do is give them to us. What do you think? I think we got some. I think we got some cohesion going on.
listen, that's certainly something. However, if I may counter offer, just take Cam Scatterbo in the draft.
Mm-hmm. His
Look,
stock is
look.
soared, as
much as I am for white power, I just, a white running back in Chicago. A white running back just wouldn't do well in Chicago. Like, think about the last white running back the Bears ever had.
Oh,
Christ.
Exactly.
Oh.
Look, I'm just saying, I don't think the Bears have ever had a white running back.
Look, I think the Bears. It would
oh,
be a perfect
that Rosa
move.
Parks, she'll never be able to sit in the front of a bus, man. It'll just never happen.
Mhm.
Look. If Cam wants to break the color barrier like Cooper DeJean and Riley Moss for him, then I am all for it.
Listen, we're all for this, okay? This is exactly what we need. And simply put, if he wants to do it with Chicago, I'm more than welcome for it.
Hang on a second. Can we go back to the Packers-Eagles game real quick?
Sure.
Mhm.
I want to entertain the idea that the Packers can actually win this game. They are the 7th seed again. They've done it before, and they nearly beat the 49ers last year as said 7th seed as well. The problem they had was the fact that they did not have a kicker. If I remember correctly, Matt LaFleur even straight up said that every time Carlson, right?
Yes.
Anders Carlson.
Every time he walked out onto that field, Eberflus simply prayed. Let us assume that the Packers can actually keep up with the Eagles today. Eagles in their game. Do you think Brandon McManus, if it comes down to him, do you think the Packers will be able to trust their kicker in Brandon McManus to get them to go far in the playoffs? Or do you think it will be another Carlson situation where he shrivels up in the biggest moment?
I mean, he's
It's my
got the
thing.
leg.
I
Got the
don't
leg
think
to it.
I don't think it'll get close enough to where McManus can save it. Like at that point, McManus being accurate will just be like a bandage on an amputation.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say it with the Packers again. I'm not going to rule it out because the Packers are the Packers, and they've shown before they can pull as much bullshit out of their ass as anyone could, especially when, they are given the lowest seed in the playoffs. We've seen what they can do before, but it just feels like there's too much going against them, especially with injuries and stuff. And
Yeah, the Watson injury, I think, is gonna kill him.
yeah, definitely. And just the fact that I feel like the Eagles are just the worst possible matchup for Green Bay, especially given the Packers, their defense has been better this season, no question about it. But having to stop, Saquon, and then, with Jalen Hurts back, having to stop him, A.J. Brown and Devontae,
Smith.
yeah, all that, having to stop all that when, your offense is really going to be having to rely on you so much because your offense is depleted outside of Josh Jacobs. It's a tall order for Green Bay, and of course, it's very possible that they can do what they've done in the past and shock everyone, but it just feels like too much is against them this time around. Too much for them to overcome.
You want my bold prediction for Packers Eagles? We're gonna get fucking Cooper DeJean pick 6. That's my hot prediction.
I think the real hot prediction is we cursed the Eagles and nothing was lost.
Mm-hmm.
I think honestly, I know they've done it before, but I feel like the thing is going to have the most impact for the Packers winning is because we all picked them. And we here at the Untitled Sickos Project, we have a long standing of cursing other teams just simply when we all pick them.
Yeah, but here's the thing. A white boy summer pick 6 would be like...
It would be peak. It'd be peak.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I think that might do it for us today.
Yeah, do we have anything else to talk about, like Jesus or, I don't know.
Not really.
No, not
We
really.
did our parts today. We did our parts.
All right.
We did. I think we did what we needed to do. I think next week we'll do the principal's office. I think next week might be the principal's office, or we might need another week for that. Not so sure
The principal's
yet.
office. The principal is basically, actually, forget the office. We're doing an assembly.
Yeah, it's
Oh shit!
you remember
true.
that like assembly in that episode of The Simpsons where it's like
Oh, wasn't it the one where they were handing out like what are students failing in?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
The one where Ralph was just like, me fail English? That's impossible.
Lisa was failing PE.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait for that. Another classic sickos. I don't know when, but we're gonna probably hopefully. I think we gotta hopefully do it before the end of like next week. We're gonna find a way to do an Among Us stream with us and the gaggle. That is something that I think is très important to do. A high level of importance for us all to do. So stay tuned for that too. Lots of stuff planning here. Haven't said it enough. I'll say it over and over again. Thank you for helping us reach 100 subscribers. And yeah, I can't wait. They're playing Danganronpa 2 Chapter 2?
We're still on chapter 1.
Chapter 1? Okay. Chapter 1 is tomorrow. Make sure you give that a watch. If you haven't, don't forget to subscribe, follow everybody's social medias. And until then, the road to 250, gentlemen. The road to 250. We got lots of work to do. Let's get at it.
Yeah.
And take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
Have yourselves.
Take care, boys.
A damn
Later,
good-
fuckers.
Yeah.
Right.
Have yourselves a damn good one.
And have yourselves a